and you've been notified.
Yep, I see the dot.
Yes, sir.
All right, welcome everyone to the next edition of the Elite of Wrestling podcast. We are finally joined with AJ after several months of difficulties with mostly headset issues. How do you feel to finally be on here?
I'm glad to finally join here because, the last few times I haven't been able to join, I've been ticked off because I've been had some really good stuff there's some really good stuff to talk about here that I haven't been able to discuss.
Yeah.
And truth be told, there's still a ton of great stuff to discuss, and I don't think we've even discussed everything up to this point before our previous podcast. So, hey, we're the Elite. Let's just start off.
What do we want to start on?
I think it's safe to say we want to start with AEW because it's our name. We're the Elite. We're all Elite. So, what's everybody's thoughts so far on AEW? And we'll start with Double or Nothing.
That was a phenomenal show.
Yeah, I honestly don't have really any complaints now.
The ending angle was awesome.
Oh, yeah. Did you all, be honest with me, did any of you truly see Jon Moxley coming out that night?
I thought he was going to be saved until like All Out or the TNT debut, but I knew they had to do something big.
I was in the moment there, basically. Like, going into the show, I was thinking, there was always the possibility, and, but it wasn't confirmed or for sure and all that. And then as the show was going on, of course, I was lost in the moment, just watching the show, not thinking about it. And all of a sudden, boom, here he comes. And JR goes into his classic explosion. And I'm like, okay, this is perfect.
This is for real, and that was JR's best moment in my opinion, because JR, he's still learning all the talent, clearly, and he's not used to, especially the Japanese style, but hearing good old JR go, good God almighty, and just literally just own it with the Moxley and Omega segment, that was beautiful.
Yeah, to use a Michael Coleism, that was vintage JR right there.
You know what, I'll accept that, because that is the truth. So what was everyone's favorite match from that night? Eric, you start out, because I know we talk over each other a little bit.
Let's see. If I was to choose, it would be Cody Rhodes versus Dustin Rhodes.
Okay. Jake, what about you?
All right. I'm going to go different here. I mean, obviously, Cody versus Dustin is my favorite, but I really enjoyed that six-man tag, the SCU against the Strong Hearts.
That was a sleeper hit moment.
Yeah. I mean, I was really surprised. I followed a little bit of OWE, and I knew a little about the Strong Hearts, even before the little preview match they gave on the All Elite Wrestling channel at noon. But, man, there was not a single moment of rest, it seemed, in that match. Every person was just going 100 miles per hour.
I'm definitely looking forward to Shima versus Kenny Omega tonight at Fight for the Fallen, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we still have a lot to go. Speaking of which, AJ, what was your match of the night from Double or Nothing?
It's very hard to pick because, each of those matches brought something different, I thought.
They really did.
It's, like, for instance, the Rhodes Brothers, that was that classic old school mentality type wrestling match there. Whereas the six-man tag the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers, that was just your classic tag team, like, spot fest style. And then you had Omega and Jericho was good for what it was. I'd say, it's for the old guard versus the new guard, but I wouldn't exactly call it spectacular. At least, but you guys probably saw their match at Wrestle Kingdom or whatever that was in New Japan. Unfortunately, I did not, and I'm guessing that match was better than this one.
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
you guessed correct.
That was a no disqualification match the first time encounter, because really think about this. Jericho can't go at that level he used to go to, so they had to put the no DQ stipulation to protect him.
Correct.
Yeah, no offense, but Jericho's just not in the shape he used to be.
No,
there's no offense whatsoever there, because that's clearly obvious and understandable too, given his age.
Yeah, but the thing that keeps him going, he keeps redefining himself somehow across the wrestling industry by enhancing his character and in-ring style and basically letting the other guy carry him. He's more just there to try and put the other guy over. I mean, you saw the same podcast I did. I mean, he can't even take the one-winged angel anymore. Thus, he invented the Judas effect.
Yeah.
Anyway, getting back to that then, since I didn't answer your question.
Hold on. When did Jericho say that he can't take the one-winged angel anymore?
It was during well, Eric, you saw the details like I did.
Yeah, he said that when he took the one in the Angel the first time, he couldn't move for like about a day or so, and he was like, "I am never going through that move again." This was like prior to Double or Nothing.
Correct.
So he kind of spoiled the outcome of the match. To be
A little
honest.
bit. But anyway, AJ, you were gonna say.
Yeah, so I'll just go ahead and say the Rhodes Brothers was my favorite match on the show then because of that old school and because I'm assuming I'm older than all of you guys. I do appreciate that old school wrestling type. Like for instance, like the Ultimate Warrior versus Macho Man Randy Savage is probably my favorite match of all time. So that's basically what that was.
I think right now my match of all time WWE wise is probably Undertaker and Shawn Michaels WrestleMania 25.
Yes,
but
I agree. Amen.
Yeah, Double or Nothing though. Bottom line, a show. It really set a strong standard of what we can expect from AEW. Although I kind of already knew what to expect since I've seen most of these guys in New Japan Pro Wrestling and Ring of Honor, and learning about these other people in the Indies. But I was really surprised by the women's showcase too, because I did not know a lot about Yoshi Pro or Gato Pro Wrestling. And Riho and Yuka were very impressive to me, and I look forward to seeing more of the Hiroku Shida, who I know signed with All Elite Wrestling, because I do know that she did face Aja Kong one-on-one in a 20-minute bout, and won.
Yeah, and the fact that they mentioned that one of the female wrestlers been wrestling since they were in their single-digit age.
Can you believe that? We got Japanese wrestlers on the women's side that have been wrestling before they were even 10 years old? Are you kidding me? And
I didn't know that was legal. I didn't know that was legal given all the controversy with Izzy.
Me either. Good lord. Well, again, that's...
Well, this is Japan. Japan
that's true.
America.
They do things differently over in Japan.
I started watching Stardom World recently, and the amount of talent there at such a young age and the amount of years some of those people have, like Momo Watabe, freaking unbelievable. I would love to see her in All Elite Wrestling. And I can't wait to see more of what Kenny Omega, because Kenny Omega is the one that's bringing these type of wrestlers and showcases to the promotion.
He even said that he was rooting for one of the female wrestlers he's brought in because he actually says she reminds him a lot of himself.
And which one was that?
I want to say Rio, but I could be wrong on that.
Brandy definitely.
Well,
Brandy definitely put over Rio from that for going into that triple threat into our next show. So Fyter Fest, can you really call it a pay-per-view? Because pay-per-view.
Here's the thing. When I was looking at this, I was like, oh, I recognize this style. This is the old WCW mentality where they have a big event pay-per-view, but they have Clash of the Champions in between.
Exactly.
That's a good point for that.
Yeah,
Fight for the Fallen feels like more of a pay-per-view, to be honest, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, Fight for the Fallen.
Oh, by the way, as far as mine... Yeah, we got Fight for the Fallen tonight. Oh, by the way, my match from Double or Nothing, Cody Rhodes and Dustin.
Anyway,
match, So
speaking of Fight for the Fallen, let's get it out of the way. There's been a lot of controversy surrounding this show, as you may know.
Oh, yeah.
We have an Evolve show going on at the exact same time.
Yeah, I've been wanting to talk about that. That was like, okay, I get Evolve had a 10th anniversary plan, but then WWE was like, hey, can you have a show on the same day as Fight for the Fallen and at the same time?
Yeah. It just baffles me, really, when you think about it. But they're saying, like, oh, we have this planned in advance. Okay, so maybe you have the 10th anniversary show planned in advance, but there's no way you can tell me that the booking airing time of this show during a charity-based show from your rival competitor now, it seems, as just, pure coincidence.
Actually, I don't think that is the case. Here's the thing. Here's what I was thinking. Like, Evolve had a plan. They had a show at the same time, but it was just giving them running the show. But then WWE called in and was like, hey, we're petty and vindictive, so we need to go ahead and have a show on a charity night event. So because we were blood money favored.
And I bet that call was led by freaking Vince McMahon himself. I'm a genius.
Well, I can tell you all guys right now, it's actually a moot point for me right now because as I told Noah last night when we were trying to get my headset set up, I will not be able to watch anything live tonight. I have baseball tickets tonight, so I'll be doing that.
Yeah, nice. And plus you'll get the replay of Fight for the Fallen for free, so that's good.
Fight for the Fallen is free anyway, so yeah, that's I'll be able to watch that whenever, and then I can watch the Evolve show whenever I want to, since it's on the network, I imagine. And the other thing too is that I was talking with my other buddy. There is just a lot going on here locally for me. There, in addition to the stuff that's on TV tonight, there are also 3 shows emanating from my local region tonight as well. There's one. If there wasn't this stuff going on TV and I didn't have the ball game tonight, I probably would have gone to one of those shows because one of them wants to go. And then there's another show, the other show that's local too. Just Incredible was originally booked as the headliner, and I heard that he pulled out. So he has canceled his booking for tonight. That sucks for that promotion, even though it wasn't gonna. I honestly didn't have a whole lot of faith going into that night or tonight anyway, because I was at the Miz Day, the Miz Day here over in the Cleveland area last week, the day before the 4th of July. He was honored and given the key to the city, and a couple of the guys who were doing a lot of promotion for tonight's show, they were handing out flyers for the show too. So one of them came up to me and gave me that. I was like, oh, well, okay. Well, unfortunately I can't make it, but thanks for the flyer. And then the other one, Noah, you live in Toledo, right, Noah?
Yes, I do.
How far away are you from Kalahari, Sandusky?
I'm not sure exactly because I've never been to it because I don't have a car. Everywhere I go, it's public transportation. I've taken Greyhounds to see NXT Cleveland the last 2 years in a row, and that trip itself is about 2 hours. So
because there's also another show that is that's the promotion that's based out of here in Cleveland. They're doing a show on the road at near the Kalahari Water Park.
I've always wanted to go to the Kalahari water park, but you bring up an interesting point because this is a great discussion. You guys know AEW, right? They're not WWE. They're not like Patty necessarily, and they don't just lock their talent down to just booking under the AEW brand. They say they could take some independent show days. So I believe it was Sean Spears, I think, that was really scheduled for a show, but then AEW was like, you can't do it, and then they're trying to negotiate with them, and they were still saying no, but in the end, they decided to be like, okay, we can make this work. Now, do you think that was brought on more so they don't look petty based on the type of stance they gave back at the AEW press conference?
Here's my best bet on that. Here's the thing. I get the feeling Cody was trying to fulfill all the promises he made, but then Tony Khan probably thought differently a bit on this.
Right. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, AJ, to answer your question, Kalahari is 19 hours from me.
Oh, crap. Really? Wait, what? 19?
Wait, I'm looking at the wrong symbol. That's walking. The hell? Whoa.
I was going to say, 19 hours? Are you kidding? It's probably like an hour from you.
Yeah, you're right. It's an hour and 2 minutes. Sorry about that.
It's probably because it's like an hour from me, too, and it only takes me about a little over 2 hours then to get to Toledo, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but there is one important thing we need to talk about AEW.
Go ahead, Eric.
What is that?
What is it?
The chair shot incident.
Oh, God, yeah.
I really don't want to talk about this.
I don't either.
We were going to get into Fighter Fest anyway because we just talked about Double or Nothing. So, hey, we might as well. Let's get the most controversial bit out of the way, then talk about the show. Eric, go ahead. Open the conversation.
What are your thoughts on this, Eric?
When I saw that, I was like, okay. I actually talked about Fighter Fest last night and uploaded it on YouTube. So if you want my expanded thoughts, you can check that out. When I saw it, I was like, okay, I'm not going to praise them for doing a chair shot. In fact, I'm against it because considering all the circumstances surrounding it nowadays.
Right.
And then I was thinking when the Young Bucks and Tony Khan were saying, oh, the chair shot was gimmicked and it was supposed to be protected, but something went wrong. Someone uploaded some pictures a few days or so after that showed that the chair side, the seating part, bent a bit and scraped at Cody's back head.
So that's how he got busted open.
Yeah, I get the feeling like the chair shot did almost go as planned, but Cody might have turned his head a little too quickly, and the chair bent unnaturally. That scarred the back of his head.
Well, if that's the only thing about it that scarred him up, and not the actual shot where he didn't get his bell rung, and based on the fact that he said there was no concussion whatsoever, I'm willing to believe that. Then that's what it is. However, when I was watching Fighter Fest with a buddy he's more between casual and hardcore wrestling fan, so he's not familiar with AEW. He was watching it for the very first time, and when he saw that chair shot, he was like, Why?
You know, it's funny. I work with No DQ, and I kid you not, the very first thing everyone said was "damn" and a bunch of other stuff, and then other people started putting in like chair shots from the past. Like, you remember the most vindictive, the most harsh of chair shots WWE used to pull, right? I mean, the earliest example I can think of is Mankind and The Rock, where Mankind got his head bashed in like 6 damn times while handcuffed.
Yeah.
And then I also think about the one chair shot that Shawn Michaels gave The Undertaker at not only at SummerSlam 97, but right after that too.
Oh man,
yeah,
that was nasty.
And people were treating this chair shot like, this is what I said. I was saying this. People were treating like AEW did the worst thing to ever happen in professional wrestling. I was like, really? Like, that's not the worst thing that any promotion did. Have they seen Combat Zone Wrestling?
CZW, those people are lucky to ever be the same again. And yet we got someone I'm sure we're going to talk about soon, Jon Moxley, but I digress. Anyway, yeah, that chair shot, I was hearing mixed reports about that because I was like, okay, maybe he turned his head the wrong way, or maybe Shawn Spears just literally welded in too hard. Because in my opinion, it didn't look like Shawn Spears hit him that hard with the chair. It just looked like it hit him at an awkward angle. So you disclosing that, Eric, makes me feel a whole lot better about that. But as Tony Khan discloses, because I always watch the post interviews, Tony Khan, great person, by the way. I like his energy, and I like how open he is to just discuss anything the press really wants to ask him and give extra time. Maybe Vince could learn that, but I digress. That'll never happen.
Yeah, and plus, I do like the fact that instead of acting like the chair shot incident never happened, they were like, okay, let's acknowledge it and let's call Shawn Spears the chairman.
Yeah, exactly. And even he said, look, you have the most perfect plan with a perfect pilot. There's still going to be flaws. And Tony Khan was like, I don't want to bring this sort of message or showcase this type of violence as well on the product. I mean, Tony Khan raised a lot of interesting points of what we can expect as far as AEW's development goes, especially the differences between these big shows we're seeing now, pay-per-view and free, versus their weekly televised thing. But with that, let's go ahead and just briefly talk about a Firefly. Like, what was y'all's favorite match from that show?
Okay, that might be a bit difficult. I thought it was an okay show. It wasn't going to be phenomenal like Double or Nothing, and probably not like All Out, since this is a free show and this is more like a get-to-know-it vibe. Exactly. But I did enjoy the main event unsanctioned match.
All right. Jake, what about you?
Same thing, Moxley and Janela.
Moxley with some badass entrance music, too. AJ, you saw Firefest with your buddy. What was your favorite match from Firefest?
I absolutely loved, like you said, the Moxley music. Moxley's entrance music was phenomenal. However, I actually liked the 6-man tag more than anything.
Oh, you mean the Elite versus Laredo Kid and Lucha Bros?
Correct.
With Street Fighter entrance?
A big reason why is, even though I can never look at Phoenix the same again after he no-showed my local event the week before Double or Nothing, I am a big fan of Laredo Kid. I have seen him perform locally several times. My local promotion had brought him in, and then he started showing up on Impact. I am a big fan of this kid. I got to talk, even though he speaks very little and also very broken English, I got to talk to him face to face a little bit too several times. He's just a good dude, and he's very talented. So just to be able to see him, well, he was on Impact that Friday night in a 6-man tag with the Lucha Brothers against, he was teaming with LAX rather, and then he was on Fyter Fest the very next night tagging with the Lucha Brothers. Just to see him get showcased like this, I just hope Laredo gets so much more,
So
he's so,
you want Laredo Kid to eventually get signed to All Elite Wrestling?
To that, or go back to the X Division and Impact. I just think he deserves the world, honestly. He is just so good.
Oh, there is one group of people that were breakout stars of Fyter Fest.
And who might that be?
Private Party.
Yes!
Oh yes.
Yeah, that's true.
They were incredible.
Private Party broke out.
Man.
They had their coming out party.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
No pun intended.
And this is where I think something happened.
So the Private Party is no longer private? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. They shall now be forever referred to as Open Party.
I'm glad you didn't say Public Party. But
I'll be glad to join that party.
I'll tell you, and I mentioned this, and I don't know if any of you guys caught it when I was tweeting during Fyter Fest. Private Party, and it reminds me a lot of the Street Profits.
I've heard that a lot,
they
too.
show up out of nowhere on Raw.
Oh my gosh. Promoting freaking Extreme Rules, that still disgusts me, but I digress. Yeah, Private Party was definitely my breakout team of the night. And I think my only other moment besides that and the chair thing, Darby Allin, seeing that coffin drop to the apron, damn.
Yeah, that was a little scary too, and that was another controversial moment that people were criticizing too. That would probably be actually my second favorite match on the show. Nothing against Moxley and Janela, but I really liked, again, Rhodes and Darby Allin seemed a little old school too, that I liked.
Yeah, and that match went to a draw. I did not see that coming.
Yeah, I didn't see that either, but it's these days, way back in the day when I first started watching, there were matches going to draws a lot because that was a thing back then.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I was not a fan of it back then, but now that I'm older and understand more about booking and keeping guys strong and all that, I can actually understand it more, and I can appreciate it when it happens.
They could have done the WWE route and just have a disqualification happen, but they were like, no, let's have them go out a draw.
They could have had Spears just run in and do the chair shot during the match and then do a disqualification. But, I can understand where this is coming from. The question is now that since Rhodes and Allin are headed towards probably a rematch at some point, what comes first, the chicken or the egg with Spears and Allin with Cody?
I'm pretty sure it's going to happen at All Out.
Yeah, I feel like Cody versus Sean Spears is going to happen at All Out, and I'm looking forward to that interview or sit-down view he has with good old JR too, because obviously after today, what road are we going to start, gentlemen? The road to All Out. They don't have another show before then.
Yes.
Oh, that's like over a month without a show. That's
going to be a pay-per-view, exactly.
But that's fine because they spent 6 months promoting Double or Nothing on YouTube, so they could do the same thing with All Out.
And then you gotta remember this.
They're giving their biggest shows the most promotion as they should.
Yeah.
Eric, what was your thought?
I was gonna say this. Not only do we have All Out happening, but we have New Japan Pro Wrestling and NXT UK on the same night.
Oh yes.
My gosh.
What a day of wrestling it's gonna be.
It's going to be the greatest day of wrestling this year. We got 3 shows, and apparently none of them clash with each other too, which was my biggest concern. So
yes, all different time zones.
Yeah. Woo! Oh my gosh. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and move into NXT. So you all saw NXT 25, right? What were your thoughts on that show?
NXT Takeover 25 was another fantastic takeover, as always.
Would you say that was the best takeover you saw to date?
To be honest, no. I would say Takeover New York was better, but...
Yeah.
Isn't it funny that the best takeover has a dark cloud to it to an extent because of the circumstances surrounding Ciampa and what happened with Vince?
Yes, unfortunately. But it was nice to see Ciampa apparently in good spirits. Let's try and be positive here, gentlemen. In good spirits. And he's coming back maybe soon. I wouldn't mind to see Ciampa versus...
Ciampa got to be there at the end for the feel-good moment, which made me happy.
Yeah, though, of course, I get the feeling that... Here's the thing. I had speculated this. Ciampa was supposed to work New York, as it was said. Triple H heard about the neck issue and was like, okay, let's lower your house show schedule. Let's lower your time in the ring. Then we'll let you go all out at the New York event. Then you could take off and do your surgery. But Vince was like, no, I have to prove my son-in-law wrong that I'm the guy that makes the stars. So I'm going to cripple the son of a you-know-what because I'm that petty.
And I'm an evil genius.
Hold on, guys. I have a question for all of you.
Okay.
Is there a wrestling show tomorrow? I have no clue. Do we have a show tomorrow? Do we have a show tomorrow night?
I'm pretty sure, but I think we'll discuss that in a little while, right?
Yeah. You're right. I think there is something.
I'm going to be honest. That show actually is shaping out to be a decent card, in my opinion. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. True.
I actually haven't been watching WWE since the disaster known as Money in the Bank main event.
Hey.
Oh, God, yeah, let's get into that. Glasses off.
Will you start watching once Heyman and Bischoff start writing the shows again?
Hopefully, but I'm going to wait till after SummerSlam, probably.
Well, I'm going to SummerSlam, so that should be interesting for me.
Especially since you might get Cardi B and Shane McMahon.
Oh, no. Heyman and Bischoff, you cannot let that happen.
Oh, I refuse. I refuse. Please save me NXT. But speaking of which, NXT Takeover New York since, because I don't think we are so far back. So you think NXT Takeover New York was better than NXT Takeover 25, Eric?
No, that was Jake.
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
that was me.
I agree on that one.
I kind of agree too because it really set up what you would expect from Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano because, again, it led to their second match. And it wasn't like they needed like a free match storyline like they did initially with Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. I felt like it was a nice send-off for Ricochet and Aleister Black, probably Warrior's best match in NXT. And Walter and Pete Dunne, personally for me, was my match of the night. Freaking loved that match. Everything about it. What was y'all's match of the night from that card?
The 2 out of 3 falls match.
Yeah,
Are we talking about Takeover New York?
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, for me it was Pete Dunne versus Walter for the UK title.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought all of them. I thought like if Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole didn't happen, then I would have said Dunne and Walter.
I don't know why they were saying about Cole versus Gargano. There were like too many kickouts for me. Like it was kind of getting a little
oversaturated.
Yeah, like Gargano was kicking out too much. Like it was kind of getting annoying.
Well, I mean, the whole thing about 2 out of 3 falls, it's like, okay, you expect more pinfall attempts, but you don't expect a lot to be executed. It felt like they did a few too many for me, so that's why I went more with Pete Dunne and Walter. It was just more about who could beat the daylights out of the other more. I loved that match.
Plus, you have the longest reigning champion of the modern era, and not the other guy.
Exactly, near 700 days.
We don't talk about that other guy.
Oh, you mean
we have to because of what happened at Money in the Bank.
Well, we're not there yet. What was the next show?
We aren't there yet.
What was the next show after NXT Takeover New York? Okay, it was NXT Takeover 25. So we discussed that a little bit. So Jake, you said you like New York better, but let's talk about 25. NXT Takeover 25, pinnacle moment. I love how NXT actually commented and included in the build towards this, how NXT Arrival led to this. They respected the humble beginnings of what NXT has become and how Takeover has become a standard bearer in delivering for you an incredible wrestling show.
Whereas Vince would say this, that event never happened. Therefore, we are the dominant force without the past.
Well, he doesn't even know NXT exists.
Also, he hates numbering because it makes it feel old.
Oh, yeah, that old gimmick BS. Vince, why can't you just retire already? Gah! Anyway, AJ, what were your thoughts on NXT TakeOver 25 and your match of the night from that show?
My thoughts on the whole event are very, very controversial, and you're probably not, and it's a very, very, very unpopular opinion. You guys are not going to agree with me at all.
Let me guess, does it involve Gargano and Cole?
That's the top version of it, because Gargano is a homeboy here, and he's my favorite.
Yes, we all know you are a very big Johnny Gargano fan.
Come on, express yourself.
That completely Gargano losing the title so soon completely spoiled the event for me, and this whole thing. And not only that, it was the whole fact that the crowd was not behind him or barely behind him at all, and just blew the roof off when Adam Cole won. That just completely destroyed my interior right there. I did not enjoy that whatsoever. Secondly, I am not and you probably know this as well, I am not a fan of Matt Riddle. I can't put my finger on why. He just annoys the absolute crap out of me.
You don't like the original bro?
No, I'm not a fan of Matt Riddle. I do not get his appeal. So that match just didn't really do much for me, especially since he beat Roderick Strong. And thirdly, it was just like littered with Undisputed Era to the point where they're supposed to be heels, but the Full Sail crowd and everywhere they go absolutely loves them. So I don't know. It's stuck in my craw that these guys are supposed to be heels, yet they're getting cheered, and so they kind of, I don't know. I have an old school mentality as far as that's concerned. It's like, if these guys are supposed to be heels, do something heelish for a change.
They have that NWO bullet.
You look at NXT's track record, like you have Tommaso Ciampa coming out with Booze as his music, which was classic.
Yes.
And then you also got to remember, Sasha Banks made Izzy cry.
Yes.
Right. So here, the thing is, I watched NXT UK the following week, and I see the Imperial out there being complete and getting this massive heat from their crowd, and I'm thinking, this is the example of what a heel stable is supposed to be. Why can't Triple H and Shawn Michaels and company book the Undisputed Era like they're booking the Imperial instead of booking them like DX?
Maybe they're trying to book it like an NWO thing, where the NWO were heels because they were against, comments.
But they got cheered. But they still got cheered by everyone.
Yeah, but they got cheered.
Yeah, they got cheered eventually. They were hated for like about a couple of months at best. But then when they started getting very popular, then all of a sudden you couldn't really make them heels, but you couldn't make them faces. So they made them anti-heroes.
Right. The situation there to me is, I think this is a lot of. This goes for a lot of people now, or a lot of characters and talent in NXT right now. These are very popular indie folks that are getting signed and scooped up and being built up in NXT right now. And I think that could be a big deal as to why these folks are getting cheered so adamantly now, is because they're appreciating and seeing these indie, quote, darlings, if you will, come in and getting the star treatment like they have been on the past. So, like, I don't know. It's like they're having a hard time booing anyone.
I think that might be another reason why they're not booing them like they used to.
Why is that?
The only talent that I can see that seems to be getting booed in NXT right now are the Forgotten Sons.
Yeah,
they're the only talent right now that I can actually hear when I'm watching NXT getting booed.
You're not wrong. You're right.
I have a theory why people are always cheering regardless if their faces or heels, and why everyone seems to love every single person in NXT. It's because they know what's going to happen to them when their time is done.
Yeah,
that's the
true.
Unfortunate part about NXT.
And yet NXT is the #1 show on the WWE Network, and it's also been portrayed as really the #1 working environment. Now, speaking of working environment, should we even talk about the morality lately in the WWE May roster?
Oh, like, Seth Rollins finally snapping at people on Twitter?
Yes, exactly. So let's go ahead and talk about that. So he's the man, right? He's the company's man. And then
he's the man's man, according to Vince.
Ah, jeez, that effing shirt and freaking relationship. They're trying to turn freaking Seth and Seth and Becky, into the modern day Edge and Lita. It's not going to work. Edgy my ass. You're a publicly traded company. You got kids literally on your YouTube channel saying, who's the best in the world? CM Punk. Smart kid. But you also got them doing entrances and stuff like that. You can't go back to freaking what you used to be. Impossible.
Actually, they've been saying that they're trying to get out of the PG era to get their teen demographic back because, oh no, AEW's coming for us. We got to prepare for war.
Yeah, good luck with that. You really afraid they can pull that off, considering Eric Bischoff has yet to even be involved in any creative meetings or any sort of guerrilla oversighting backstage for Raw or SmackDown Live. People are saying Eric Bischoff's the most out of touch right now with the modern day product.
Well, here's the thing. It was said that Eric Bischoff is supposed to officially start after Extreme Rules. In fact, here's the thing that shocked me what I heard about Bischoff and Paul Heyman.
Okay.
It's been said that Vince McMahon told them, look, we had a plan for SummerSlam, but you can alter it and have a fresh start.
Wait, so they can rewrite the SummerSlam card completely if they want to.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
All right.
Even JD
now I have hope
about
SummerSlam.
Okay.
So we're not going to see Shane McMahon versus Kofi Kingston?
That's the other thing. There's been said that Kevin Owens' storyline against Shane McMahon is to write him off of television.
Write who off of television?
Shane O'Mac.
Kevin Owens.
Yeah. I was wondering why they were rebooting that and turning Owens back to face again.
I thought Kevin Owens was turning
into I don't think the Kevin Owens heel turn was planned. They did it because Bryan was I think Bryan was hurt.
Yeah, he was hurt. He got a concussion.
They panicked, so they turned Kevin heel.
Yeah, it just seemed very weird that he did a flash turn twice in a span of.
And he came out in an interview saying he wanted to be a face this whole time.
Exactly.
Well, I'm just glad they weren't going with that weird family thing character that he was doing when he was first doing those promos, eating pizza with his kid.
Yeah, by the way, let's just do this right now off topic, but let's just get it off our chest. Pizza with pineapples, yes or no?
Yes.
No.
I don't really care. I don't have pineapple on my pizza.
Good job, Eric.
I'll take that to the grave. Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm a no as well. I gotta be like all meat or mushroom. Okay, fun side discussion.
If I were on death row and they asked me what my last meal with pizza, if I had to give me my last meal with pizza, I'd say yes, bacon and pineapple.
All right, fair enough. So you like the savory and the sweet. Okay.
Yes.
All right,
exactly.
let's keep going down the timeline here. Money in the Bank. So, yeah, Brock Boombox. I have seen so many gifs and memes for that bullshit. Does anyone else besides me think Ali should have won that match?
Oh, here's the thing. Here's the
You
thing.
know who
about
should
that
have won it?
match.
Who, Jake?
Andrade should have won it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right.
But here's the thing about that match.
What?
And this
Go for it.
pissed everyone right the hell off.
What?
Vince McMahon went up to all the competitors of Money in the Bank and said this. Look, everyone, Mustafa Ali is winning that match. They never told them about Brock Lesnar.
So
that's why they were so pissed off on camera. You can see how mad they were.
Nobody but Vince knew that Brock Lesnar was going to be the true winner.
Yeah.
Even Randy Orton was pissed, and we all know the history him and Brock have, so obviously he's pissed.
Yeah, because he busted Randy Orton open with an elbow strike one time at SummerSlam to the point Chris Jericho went against a tirade at him backstage.
I would have even taken Randy Orton over Brock to win Money in the Bank again.
Yeah, tell me about it.
And here's the thing I found out. When it was said that Ali was told, and the wrestlers were told that yes, Ali's gonna win the Money in the Bank. And then Vince was like, okay, let's fool them and think this is going to be a surprise factor. They'll be so shocked that we're going to have Lesnar come out and win it. And I was thinking,
Lesnar has the most original creative control, it seems, now.
Yeah, and I was thinking this. As much as people hate Baron Corbin, he at least goes out there and wrestles every week.
Yeah, I'll give you that. But did you tell me at one point Baron Corbin's being pushed because Vince sees him as a lady killer?
Yeah.
Yes, that is true.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, I was thinking wait, that doesn't even, okay, look, I know there are women who probably do find Baron Corbin attractive, even Courtney said that. But I was thinking, so you're going back to the age-old excuse that sex sells?
Wow, he really is. Moving on. Okay, let's
moving on.
And pro wrestling, because we haven't talked a lot about that at all. What were your guys' thoughts on Dominion and the main event?
I
thought Dominion
watched Japan in a while. I've been keeping track of it, but I have heard that Jericho and Okada was not as good as it probably could have been.
No, it was a bit of a disappointment, to be honest.
Yeah, let's be honest. The match of that night was Kota Ibushi versus Tetsuya Naito.
I can't speak intelligently on New Japan since I don't follow, and I don't have the time, honestly, that you guys do to take care of.
I understand. All of that. I get it.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Speaking of New Japan, what are your guys' thoughts on? Hold on.
What's up?
What are your guys' thoughts on Jon Moxley playing two characters in AEW and New Japan?
I actually love it, and according to his interview, he said he wanted to redefine himself when he went to New Japan. He's like, okay, normally I wrestle in jeans and stuff like that, but, I'm in Japan, so I wanted to change the approach, so now it's just, shoes and black tie. It's almost like a young lion, it seems. And by the way, Juice Robinson versus Mox, because it's not Jon Moxley, it's just Mox, but I guess they say Jon Moxley. That was a brutal affair, and I never...
Yeah, I saw that match. I definitely saw that match.
I never thought I would see Juice Robinson cut those dreads. I gotta be honest, I had no idea during my watch of Best Super Juniors and every week that video package played, I had no idea it was going to be Jon Moxley because I was like, a UK flag. Okay, so it's a British wrestler. Death Rider. Wait, what? And then I see the hourglass and the circle break apart into MOX, and I'm like, are you shitting me?
I did not see that coming. I did not think it was going to be Moxley of all people. That surprised me.
Here's the thing. I never thought Moxley would work in New Japan because Moxley was more of the hardcore wrestler and not the grand wrestling style that Japan operates with.
Yeah.
I'll say this.
Go ahead.
Seeing that he did win that match, go in and face Juice Robinson and win that match, my hope is that even though he does have the hardcore background on the indie scene from years past, I'm hoping that that's not going to be his end-all be-all in AEW. I want to see him also see if he can have some normal matches like he did have in the WWE, because I think he does have a lot to offer in a normal wrestling style as well.
Well,
I think that's why Kenny Omega and Moxley haven't been announced for a no DQ stipulation. They want to show Moxley in a non-hardcore capacity.
I'm hoping that it stays like that, even though, I mean, yeah, if it is their first match too. Don't let them have a regular traditional style. I would be all for that. I'd love to see that.
Right. And
Joey Janela versus Moxley, though, I understand making that hardcore, because that's like, you got to make that hardcore.
They're former Death Fighters of CCW. It's in their blood. It had to have been hardcore for those two.
Yes, sir.
A thing about Joey Janela, though, he also, the first time I ever learned about him and watched him grow was in my home Cleveland promotion here, too. He was booked every month for the span of 2 years, and he can also go in a regular style match, too, though.
So he was booked in AIW, Absolute Intense Wrestling?
Yes, he was booked in AIW for about a span of about maybe at least a year and a half, and last May he won their big Memorial Day weekend tournament where the winner gets a title match at any time of their choosing, and then that's when he went out and shattered up his knee a few months later.
Oh, okay. Ouch.
So unfortunately, that's when he destroyed his knee. I think that was after All In, and that pretty much took him out of that running.
Gotcha.
So he never got a chance to cash in, and then he signed with AEW.
Yeah. Okay, so going back to Moxley, what is everybody's thoughts on the Chris Jericho podcast, which I think is still his most downloaded, viewed, listened podcast?
Yeah. Here's the thing: when I saw the list, since watching it would take forever, since I get distracted, so I just looked at the footnotes and the information. Yes. I was like, oh, so Moxley's confirming everything we speculated.
Exactly.
I would have to say that, in my opinion, it was the most telling shoot interview since the CM Punk interview on Art of Wrestling with Cole Cabana.
And look how Cole Cabana and CM Punk are operating right now.
Oh, no. Let's hope this doesn't happen with Moxley and Jericho. Let's hope they're not in a court battle in a few years.
Oh, don't worry. They didn't attack the doctors. If they did that, that would have led to something.
Yeah, but they didn't attack doctors specifically on this. They attacked the creative process and the outlook and talking with Vince and dealing with what you're given versus what you want to do, to the point that he said he hated doing promos. And now, like you saw the post promo after Double or Nothing, he's like, okay, I want to do this. I want a camera to follow me in the backstage area, and I'm just going to cut a little shoot promo about basically what I'm calling a paradigm shift. And it's like, oh, yeah, we'll do that. And that was great.
Pooper Scooper.
Oh, God.
I do like how he renamed the Dirty Deeds the Paradigm Shift, though. That's a pretty good name for it.
That is a good name.
Yeah, how about that other move he pulls out, too, that's like a bitter end almost, except he literally just whips his opponent in the air and just throws them to the mat.
That was pretty interesting.
Also, I thought of an idea regarding Jon Moxley between his AEW and New Japan counterparts, but this would come off more like this is like, okay, that sounds like Mick Foley.
Oh, you like the many faces.
Yeah, like basically like the Moxley we get in AEW that wears the jeans and whatnot and wrestles in the hardcore matches. How about at All Out, he comes out in his New Japan attire and does a completely different style?
That would be very surprising to me. I'm very curious to see what sort of style, in-ring, and attire he would bring to former New Japan Pro Wrestling professional wrestler Kenny Omega. Would Kenny Omega still stick with the whole video game thing, or would he come out in a more serious or street look? There's a lot of dynamics here that you do bring a point about between Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley when it comes to them demonstrating themselves between New Japan Pro Wrestling and AEW. I'm very excited for this match at All Out. Speaking of All Out, oh my gosh, that belt. Dave had done it again. That championship belt for AEW.
Gorgeous!
Glorious! How,
yeah, that's pretty nice.
That is a scrap. That's a real belt, too. No Velcro on it.
I'm still wondering why Vince even thought that was a great idea.
Just cheap, probably. Easier to wear. I don't know.
Hey, wait. Don't you remember when I brought up a few months ago, there were some images of Brock Lesnar? He didn't have the actual Universal belt. He had a replica.
He didn't
Wait,
care.
he
He
wasn't holding the actual title on Raw all those months?
he
No,
wasn't.
he was holding a prop replica.
I bet it was like the $400 belt too.
Is the
Well,
belt
that's
Seth
fine
holding?
because imagine what Brock Lesnar could do to the regular belt if he had it in his possession the whole time.
Nothing.
I mean, he
hold-
could potentially like melt that down like Kama Mustafa did the Undertaker's urn.
He would do what
geez.
Naito does with the belt. He just throw it up in the air and just disrespect it.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar does it anyways when he doesn't come and work every week.
Yeah, I mean, you saw what happened at the end of WrestleMania 34. He threw the belt at Vince's face.
Yeah, I'm trying to wonder why Vince did not fire him after that, regardless of the quote money he brings in.
I think literally you just hit the nail on the head. He's a draw. Simple as that. All right, let's get to WWE. Let's talk about the biggest thing going today, folks. Kofi Mania. What is everybody's thoughts on Kofi Kingston and his WWE Championship run and booking? Eric,
I'm ready to piss him. Never mind. Eric can go first.
Okay,
He's been very
Kofi's
strong.
run, I feel like it has to end either at Extreme Rules to Samoa Joe or end at SummerSlam at the hands of hopefully the Fiend Bray Wyatt.
No, it'll be Shane McMahon.
No, hell no. If that happens,
I will not subscribe to that reality.
No, I refuse to believe in that.
I'm still thinking that at some point, if Joe does not beat Kofi, that Lesnar's going to cash in on him.
I actually heard a rumor that Kofi is injured at the moment. He might be dropping the title tomorrow.
Hey, if Joe beats him, then I'm all for it.
Hey, this is the perfect time for Joe to win the title. It's kind of now or never after all these chances he's had.
But the thing is, Vince McMahon's not going to push Joe as champ. Let's think about this. How many times has the hot potato United States title been off Samoa Joe? And every time Samoa Joe delivers intimidating promos, when it comes to the big climatic championship match, he never gets the win.
Because in Vince's eyes, he does not see a talented wrestler. He just sees a guy who's not muscular and
he sees another fat Samoan.
Bingo.
Which is absolutely ridiculous because he's athletic as all hell. He can, for his size, he can go in the ring. He's one of the top technical wrestlers in the world, and he can cut a mad promo, as we've heard countless times.
Thank you, AJ. Speak the truth. Yes, exactly my point. I'm like, why the hell are you doing this, Samoa Joe? Speaking of which, let's go ahead and talk about people who we think Vince does not know who are capable of being a talented top-tier champion.
So 75% of the roster?
Well, pretty much. Let's just go with a name here. Cesaro. Everyone's thoughts on Cesaro.
Okay, yeah, that's the thing. I get the feeling Vince does know how talented Cesaro is, but Cesaro sees himself as a professional wrestler, not a quote sports entertainer.
I can agree with that because that's what he's been for basically his entire career.
Absolutely.
Remember how Vince is changing words again? How he says, "Oh, you're not fans, you're sports entertainment enthusiasts."
Who came up with that idea?
Vince and Dunn.
God. Day those two are out of friggin' power. It'll be a glorious day for the entire world, wrestling community, and beyond. But I digress. Yeah, Cesaro, in my opinion, I still believe he needs a championship push. He deserves it. He constantly delivers. And honestly, if we are going to go a little bit into the future, I am looking forward to him in a one-on-one match against someone we're going to talk about soon. But I know we got to talk about this because this has also been a hot angle going on lately in WWE over the months. Firefly Funhouse, and I'm not singing the theme. What is everybody's thoughts on Firefly Funhouse?
I don't know what's going on.
I don't know what they're doing with that, and I'm actually shuddering to think what's going to happen when it comes time for Wyatt to actually wrestle.
Doing it in a few weeks. It feels like Bray's character's lost its direction already.
Well, all we're seeing is puppets being teased every week, so it's
and I love that. I love when they tease them. It's not with just random people. They're people he has a history with.
They're making you guess. They're making you guess when he's going to debut. You don't know. They're not going to tell you. It's going to be a surprise.
I didn't watch Raw or SmackDown Live this week. Were those puppets seen at all? Because I wasn't quite paying attention.
I don't think so.
There was a puppet scene. I think it was Rambling Rabbit on SmackDown Live. Yes, there was a puppet this week.
I completely forgot to actually look and watch and see if they actually showed up. The thing about that is those things are so tiny and low key that it's tough to miss. They're easy to miss.
Like you said, when you do see them, they're always with people that Bray Wyatt has had an established feud or history with.
Well, let's think about it. We've seen a puppet with Miz. We've seen a puppet with I'm losing my thoughts already.
Daniel Bryan, Eric Rowan.
Yep, Daniel Bryan, Eric Rowan.
Carmella and R-Truth.
Carmella Truth, because he has history with them.
The New Day.
The New Day, yeah, because I remember all the fear he put in Xavier Woods.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Like when I was seeing all these guys that they were doing all these callbacks, I was like, okay, Vince was not in charge of any of this because Vince hates history.
Exactly. This was done by Triple H, Undertaker, and an actual writer that listened to the wrestlers, didn't lead.
And Bray Wyatt, he had 100% creative control on that, apparently.
Wait, Bray Wyatt had 100% creative control?
How do you think he came up with the entire idea of Firefly Funhouse?
Well, I thought he literally just talked and like, okay, just this.
The thing about that is they're probably letting him have his fun with these promos, and then they're not going to do anything with them once it comes time for him to actually get back in the ring. That's probably Vince's mentality. That's probably Vince's mentality. Let him go have his fun with those videos and the thing and all that, and let him do whatever and hype him up and all that stuff. And when you get back in the ring, we'll see.
Actually, there's a thing I heard about regarding Bray Wyatt after he makes his debut and return.
Oh dear, what is it?
Triple H has been trying to push for Bray Wyatt to be a big, powerful force to be reckoned with. He wants him to rarely lose matches, and he wants him to be a dominant force heading into next year.
That's not a bad way to look at Bray Wyatt at all. I would actually appreciate that.
I'm holding back my thoughts on the matter until I actually see what they do with him or see how he comes back, because we don't know how it's going to be. We don't know whether it's going to be a Mr. Rogers lookalike in the ring, or if it's going to be, or if he actually comes out wearing that mask and tries to wrestle with it on, or if he wears it to the ring and takes it off, or what his style is going to be like. I don't think we're going to see anything like the Bray Wyatt that we saw before he went on hiatus.
Well, Bray Wyatt is due to be at SummerSlam weekend because he's going to be part of the meet and greets that recently just went on sale. So I have to imagine they're going to incorporate him somehow into the May Roster product before then. So I feel like we're just on the precipice of Bray Wyatt being reinserted into a storyline and hopefully back in in-ring action.
Yeah, also, I've been finding the Firefly Funhouse as a work of art because of how he keeps taking shots at the modern WWE backstage mentality.
Yes.
He portrayed Vince as the devil.
Yes. In fact, you want to know what someone told me about the pig that was showing up?
Was about Husky Harris?
Yeah, here's the thing. It wasn't just the gimmick of Husky Harris. No, you want to know what I found out?
What?
Remember how Bray Wyatt disappeared when he was Husky Harris? He disappeared and then went somewhere else for a while?
Yes.
Well, there were two reasons for that. One, Vince McMahon got mad for John Cena because Husky Harris did a classic heel move of poking someone in the eye, and Vince was like, you didn't apologize better enough to Cena, so I'm going to risk firing you. But then Triple H came in and said, no. I think this kid has a future. Let's keep him around. Let me work with him.
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
Oh, this is another reason why Vince almost fired Husky Harris.
Oh no, was it because he's body?
Oh yeah, he told him, lose weight.
You insensitive prick!
It doesn't surprise me, that Vince said that.
Well, didn't he threaten the Big Show with that several times?
And I'm surprised he hasn't threatened Samoa Joe with that.
Or Braun
that would be
Strowman.
Ridiculous because Joe's got a pretty good height build for his body, for his weight anyway.
Joe can go in the ring.
And that's the thing too. He's athletic as hell. So what does that matter?
Yeah,
because Vince is obsessed for
he's in good conditioning.
Yeah.
Joe's in fine conditioning. He doesn't need to lose any weight.
All right, I think we talked about men here enough. Let's talk about the women of WWE. What's everyone's outlook on the WWE Women's Division? And do you think Ronda Rousey needs to come back?
No.
Yes.
Okay, that's the debatable part. I get the feeling, like, this is the problem I have. They keep building something up around one person, and then when that one person's gone, they were like, well, we don't care anymore.
Imagine, just look at what they've done with Becky since WrestleMania. They keep saying, oh, she made history, becoming the first person to win both titles and beat Ronda Rousey because she pinned Ronda Rousey, showed us the map, even though we all know how that worked out. And it's like they just slowly have just cooled her off to the point now you're turning it into a relationship angle and you're hurting both people.
Like, Seth Rollins already destroyed himself with the Twitter behavior he had.
Oh, yeah, well, Will Ospreay, that was completely unnecessary. I understand being a company man, but when you talk about wrestling and then finances, like, I got a fatter wall than you, you just...
Yeah, and my big bank account is filled with the blood of Saudi Arabia.
I'll say right now that it seems like with the only person that's actually benefiting from the departure of Ronda Rousey, and I'm actually speaking.
Is Bayley.
I was about to say this same. I was gonna hold my tongue, or see if I can hold my tongue before tomorrow, or until after tomorrow night, because we don't know how that's gonna go. But I was gonna say Bayley's the only one who seems to be benefiting from that.
Yes, they are booking her as a strong champion for once, finally. Now I feel like
the storyline with Nikki Cross is actually intriguing.
It is, because I feel like, one, Alexa and Nikki, they're going to break up, I feel like, but also it could bring Nikki into the different metamorphosis of her character. Now, do I want to see Alexa Bliss versus Nikki Cross more than Nikki Cross versus Bayley for the title under, like, real circumstances? I don't know, because they've already kind of followed Nikki Cross versus Bayley twice now.
If they're going to put Nikki Cross against Alexa Bliss, it better not be for the title. I do not want to see them win tomorrow night.
I pray to God it doesn't happen, because let's just talk about the elephant in the room, people. Different brands. The wild card is bullshit. Oh, yeah, let's go ahead. Rant on that. Wild card. What's anyone think about that?
Oh, no, not the wild card rule.
I was thinking, like, oh, dear God, Vince, you didn't even follow the rules you established in the first hour.
I mean, he said 3 and then 4. It's been like 5 and 7. What the hell?
They don't even care
That's
anymore.
Another thing, too. Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss win tomorrow night, then they have to jump to SmackDown, and once again, Raw is left with who as credible heels? Anyone? Especially after Becky Lynch finishes with Lacey Evans? Anyone? I don't think so.
They only have Sasha Banks who could come back, but there's all this dispute going on with that.
And yet you also have Ruby Riott, who's injured, Nia Jax, who's injured, Sarah Logan, they've done nothing with, and Dana Brooke, we don't know if she's heel or face. And that is
I just read that Tamina was injured over the weekend, too.
Oh, wait, who?
Again, I heard Tamina was injured again as well.
Oh, yeah, I heard that.
Oh, jeez, Raw has nothing from the women's division.
Yeah. It was on I saw it on
Raw
the
needs someone back.
Website.
Yeah, in fact, here's the thing I was thinking, like, and then, like, the situation surrounding Sasha Banks, especially after what we heard regarding the women's tag team belts.
Oh, yeah.
I heard a return is imminent any week now.
Yeah, but here's the thing. We finally figured out why Sasha and Bayley dropped the women's tag team titles to the Iconics.
Oh, no. Please do not remind me. Please stop.
It's Fearless.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And nothing even came of it.
Because Nikki had to retire.
Yeah, because she risked permanently paralyzing herself. Same way with Edge.
So basically, and then you had to really think. Kairi Sane was brought up as a backup plan, which they're not even using now. So really think about this. Originally, Io Shirai and Kairi Sane were going to fight at NXT TakeOver Toronto. So basically, in one foul swoop, Vince screwed Bayley, screwed Sasha, screwed Candice, screwed Kairi, screwed Io, screwed Triple H, because the Bellas are all that matter.
How is that screwing Candice, though? She gets to face Io Shirai now and possibly gets a big push, like I'm hoping she will sometime soon.
I think they were probably going to have Candice LeRae fight Shayna Baszler.
Oh.
Oh, man!
And now Shayna Baszler's going to end up facing, what's her name? Mia Yim.
Probably.
Which I've already seen three or four different times, including at AIW's WrestleMania 2 years ago.
That'll be a good match, but Candice versus Shayna definitely sounds a lot more exciting.
Yeah,
especially
Candice wrestling. Yeah. Candice hardcore.
Candice versus Io will still be a good match, though.
But I wanted to see Kairi and Io go at it. In fact, I'm pretty sure Dave Meltzer would have given it a 5-star rating just because they're Japanese.
He probably would have gave it 6 stars because they're both former Stardom World wrestlers. I've seen them firsthand from the catalog, so I agree, Eric. But I'm hoping for this. Candice LeRae has always been, up to this point, Johnny Gargano's wife. They haven't done anything with her. So I'm really hoping that they do bring her to a level of the Johnny Takeover type match and storylines, starting with Io Shirai. Because in my opinion, NXT has a great women's division, but it's still always overshadowed by the men.
Yeah.
So that's just my thoughts on that. Sasha Banks, though, please come back. Raw needs star power. If you don't want Ronda Rousey and she's on an impregnation vacation, whatever the hell that means, then you need to get you need to get Sasha Banks back on the Raw product, because right now you have nothing on Raw after Lacey Evans is officially retired from this, and I'll be glad when she is.
Yeah.
The question about that, though, is if Sasha Banks does come back, though, is it me, or did that line from Nikki Cross this week to Bayley hint that Sasha Banks would be coming back to reform with Bayley, which I really don't want to see.
Yeah,
if I were WWE, I'd have Sasha. I'd have her come back to Raw and feud with Becky. She needs a fresh opponent.
Well, sure.
And go back to their history all the way back from NXT when Sasha and Becky became friends and started working with one another. And then Becky turned on Sasha at one point. The two were involved in multi-person matches. The two faced each other one of the earliest takeover specials in NXT history. You could call back all the way to that.
And we've never seen a feud between Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch one-on-one on the main roster. I'd love to see that.
That is correct. Because it was always freaking Becky and Charlotte.
When they were both on different brands, too, so there is that.
Yeah, and then
I find it funny. WWE has not used Charlotte in weeks. I find it funny.
Yeah, I know.
I like it. It's honestly a breath of fresh air there too, because it allows others like Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose, and Ember Moon to get some TV time, even though that's kind of not
being wasted. I
like it, but at least they get some time now.
Yeah, at least they're building a storyline with them. At least they're like featuring them and building them up for a potential future title opportunity.
I hope so.
Makes me wonder who's actually going to be the tag team partner for Ember Moon next week.
Yeah.
That's
also, here's
I hope it's Liv Morgan. I want them to start using her again.
Yeah, Liv Morgan hasn't been used at all on SmackDown Live. What were you going to say, Eric?
I was going to say that there was a report coming out regarding possibly the future of the wild card rule, and this might be good news for you, Noah.
What?
Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman are demanding that they do a draft after SummerSlam and reshuffle everything.
I heard that, and that sounds good.
Awesome! I love the 2016 draft, the way it was portrayed with the double podiums and a full-fledged draft of the roster. They need to do that. Screw shakeups, because as far as I'm concerned, this wild card is an infinite shakeup. You need to define the two brands with their own two rosters and their own two unique storylines and top-tier champions. And you don't need necessarily GMs, because I don't feel like GMs should drive the freaking stories, but they should at least correspond to the matches. Hence, William Regal and Drake Maverick.
Yeah.
I would love to see a full-fledged draft again. Do what was the best part of 2016.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see after SummerSlam they just reshuffle everything in order to just get things going, especially with Fox banging on Vince's door saying, Vince, you got to fix things or we're done.
Well, as long as they don't do a complete reset and strip every one of the titles like Bischoff and Vince Russo did with WCW in the year 2000.
Yeah, that is true. I don't see that happening, though, as far as stripping titles. I mean, the worst-case scenario, they'll just set up like a match, be like, okay, this champion's going to face this champion. If you win, the title moves over to this show. Because at one point, there was a time where Raw had most of the titles. SmackDown Live had just its tag team and women's.
Yeah. Also, I keep thinking, okay, remember how WWE in 2016 to 2018 did their pay-per-views like every 2 weeks?
Yes.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Like, why couldn't they just do it like they did back then? Have a pay-per-view for one brand, and then have a pay-per-view for the next month for the other brand? Or
yeah, I want to see that again. Or
they could do this. They could do this. In order to compensate for the lack of a Raw or SmackDown pay-per-view on the alternate brands month, they do a big special, big pay-per-view like quality Raw or SmackDown.
There you go.
That's fine, because it actually keeps a little bit of the freshness between those two brands, too, instead of seeing the same match every month.
And you're also inspiring the idea that both these brands are in competition with each other to prove who's the better show. I forgot what that felt like. Survivor Series has just become Raw Showcase.
Yeah, and then like, I think I know why Paul Heyman was put on SmackDown, on Raw.
And why is that?
Because, okay, remember how Paul Heyman was originally running SmackDown like 10 years ago?
Yes, Paul Heyman SmackDown.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure back then, Vince did see Paul Heyman for his creativity, but thought, it's Paul Heyman. He couldn't keep ECW running, and look how that turned out. So let's just make him run SmackDown and see if he'll crash and burn because he can't do the things that he can do in ECW. Except there's just one major problem with that. ECW fell apart because of corporate reasons, not because fans got sick of the product. In fact, by the end of it, they're probably the only promotion left in existence that still had a devoted fan base at the tail end.
That's why you hear ECW chants still at times.
Yeah.
Incidentally, speaking of the fall of ECW, not to get off topic here, but I thought about too then that thing that came about Tommy Dreamer and Jim Ross at the end of that. Holy cow!
Wow. Oh God!
Holy cow!
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to that. If we want to get into that, let me just finish this theory of mine.
Go for it.
Okay, so, but when Paul Heyman was doing so great with SmackDown, despite all the restrictions he couldn't do because of the corporate sponsorships he had, and then when he was out doing Raw, it was like, I have made a huge mistake. Paul Heyman should not be running SmackDown. He's doing too much of a good job with SmackDown. In fact, Paul Heyman confirmed in his documentary that Vince and the company didn't like that he was doing so well with SmackDown.
Right, because it made Raw seem like the B show, and of course Vince has to make Raw be the A show.
And I was like, yeah, this is the same case that happened with Ryan Ward when he was running SmackDown, and then they put Road Dogg in charge.
And now look at
there was still that whole thing. There was a little debacle called Great American Bash 2004, though.
Oh,
that was terrible.
That was a bad one. Oh, by the way, let's talk about pay-per-view names. What was everybody's thoughts on Stomping Grounds?
I like the show.
It. I like the show.
It was
I thought it was really quality.
Yeah, I must admit, when it comes to these pay-per-views, it's really weird. It's like, okay, you hear the name, you're like, oh, God. And then you see the bills, and you're like, eh. But you see the show, and you're like, that was actually a pretty darn good show. I'll admit, I actually liked the show for the most part of it. But apparently...
like that other pay-per-view, Great Balls of Fire.
Yeah, exactly. Am I the only one who
fire.
thought Becky Lynch and Lacey Evans was a good match?
It felt kind of sloppy to me at times and a little slow. So as far as maybe this podcast panel, you might be. That was probably one of my least favorite matches.
It was okay. I mean,
it could have gotten better. But here's the thing.
I didn't say it was the best match of the card. I'm just saying it was better. It was better than some people might think.
Lacey Evans is still very green. She owns her character, but as far as like her in-ring, showcasing, I can't take the women's right as a move that can win her a championship. She more likely should just rely on her moonsault as a finisher versus that. She's not big show.
Or they could do something different with Lacey Evans instead of having her be every dime a dozen women character. How about you put her military training into the forefront?
I would actually like to see Lacey Evans be so pissed off after losing. Spoiler alert. At the show we're about to talk about in a little bit, and literally lose herself, drop this character, and literally go military to the point that she builds maybe her own barracks with, I don't know, Sarah Logan, someone who's wild and not really being utilized. That way, you redefine two characters, and maybe you actually build something in your Raw Women's division.
Wow.
Bring her out as a female Sergeant Slaughter. I'd be all for that.
Yeah, and imagine if they let Lacey Evans use her military training in her wrestling performance.
She's a former Marine, exactly.
Well, so was Gunner, and I don't know what exactly, they didn't really do a whole hell of a lot about that in his ring, except for talking about it.
Now he's just like a silent Terminator in NXT. I mean, you saw the nightmare in NXT Takeover 25, and good lord, that four-way ladder match was ridiculous, going back in time, but I digress.
Okay,
but yeah, Stomping Grounds...
Kyle, you bastard!
They really killed Kyle.
How is Kyle even walking? Jesus. Yeah, Stomping Grounds I thought was a pretty good show, but man, ticket sales, right? Whoa.
Yeah, that was nightmarish.
That was horrible.
To be fair, Tacoma's not a big wrestling market, but...
And plus you have to consider, how many times has Vince pissed off the fans?
Let me see here. 1, 2, 785. Thousands of times, give or take.
So why wouldn't they not be able to sell out that arena at this point?
Well, to be fair, are they really selling any arenas at this point? Wasn't the following Monday Night Raw like 3,500 in a 10,000 plus capacity building?
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised they didn't fill it because it's near Daniel Bryan's hometown. Wouldn't they want to see their dude?
But I think they become
so,
so
yeah.
disillusioned with WWE as a whole that you have the one diamond among piles and piles of crap. What do you think the fans are going to do? Scoop through all that and endure this horrible wreck, or just to find that one diamond, or just wait till it comes on YouTube?
And to think that one
I
diamond
guess
on Monday Night Raw was immediately eliminated in that tag match, and the crowd booed the heck out of it.
I don't understand the reason for that match in the first place.
Because
they did the elimination, and then they did like another one, like what, a minute later?
Well, AJ, you gotta remember Vince's new mentality: no more wrestling during commercial breaks. So how do you avoid this? You do 2 out of 3 falls matches. You do elimination matches. You do brawls, and you set up matches, or you do brawls and you send people to the back.
Or you could do the other idea and just limit the amount of commercials during big time matches.
But they're not going to do that because
Except
of the
for
money,
sponsors.
Eric. Think of the
Sadly.
money and the sponsorship.
Sponsors, and they have specifically timed breaks during television programming that they have to do. I know this for a fact because I worked in television at a time in my life.
Especially when they plug a freaking movie like Stuber.
My buddy said that was actually a pretty good movie. It was pretty funny from what I heard.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he saw actually the one of the premieres of it, and he thought it was pretty funny. He said Batista did a good job in that.
Well, speaking of which, let's go ahead and talk about Batista, because I guess we really didn't talk about WrestleMania. What was everybody's thoughts on Batista now? Do you truly think he's done? Remember, this is WWE. Are you truly ever done in WWE?
Well,
for his sake, I hope so, because he's over 50.
He's not the type of guy to sell out to blood money. He has morals.
Yeah, that's true, unlike some people.
Yeah, and plus you have to consider Batista did not really get what he wanted in his last match. Like, he and Triple H were saying, we want to do Hell in a Cell, and Vince was like, we have a pay-per-view, we can't do that. But sir, you used it at WrestleMania twice after the pay-per-view was created. I have no memory of that.
Yeah,
I just feel sorry for these stars that feel like they have to that don't realize that they're done until they break their backs or necks, like Sting and Hulk Hogan.
Or Mick Foley, look at how he's at now.
Yeah. Or you're thrown into a guilt trip like the Undertaker. What?
Yeah, all these guys have to break their backs and their hips and their necks to realize that they're done. It's surprising to me that even though he was wrestling until he was 60s, that Cherry Funk was never paralyzed.
Well, you saw the John Oliver later tonight rant he did against WWE and how they signed their independent contractors and how Vince thrives off the broken bodies of his workers and doesn't take any responsibility when it leads to, a worker's imminent doom.
And then Bayley had to come out and tell Christine Leahy that they don't have CBAs, and then drive that into a shock factor.
Yeah, no kidding. God. Way to go, WWE. You really are putting yourself out there in a positive way to the community.
Yeah, in fact, I found out that Bayley did an interview with Fox.
Yeah.
And you won't believe what Fox was surprised about.
Oh, drop it.
Okay. Bayley revealed that WWE does not pay for transportation like cars, like rental cars, and the reporter was like, "But you worked all week, and you should be a chance to relax. You should just have someone drive you."
Wait, what?
Yeah, and Bayley was like, "No, we drive ourselves."
Well, we know how that works. I'm pretty sure we've all watched an episode of Ride Along at one point.
Yeah, but the Fox reporter interviewer was surprised, like, wait, you mean to tell me what happens on Ride Along is legit, and therefore you don't really have anyone helping you drive, so you can rest up? You are all driving yourselves, and you're paying for it?
Well, that's the thing about a lot of those outsiders, is that a lot of the content on the network is breaking the fourth wall.
That's the life they have to deal with.
Telling everyone about their lives.
Well, maybe this is why Ride Along and Table for Three are like shows highly regarded versus NXT UK and 205 Live, but still, that's ridiculous in context.
Yeah,
I would imagine you at least cover something. Damn.
Yes, Eric.
I'm trying to find it. This is what Leah said to Bayley. you're superstars. I feel like after the show, there's a driver, and it's like, here's your driver, get in. You've had a hard day work. We'll drive through a full tank of gas. And
yeah, I watched that episode or that interview yesterday. It was pretty
yeah,
funny.
and guess what Bayley said in order to defend WWE of why they don't do this? And I was like, yeah, Bayley, tell us how you really feel. She said, she explained this. She explained that WWE takes care of most things for superstars. Yeah, I don't believe that for a second. While also explaining that the difficulties of arranging travel for numerous superstars 5 days a week. How much money do you get in the bank every second?
I mean, you've seen like Fightful, I'm sure, has disclosed how much some superstars are making. Besides, probably.
And plus, remember, they would just have to pay an additional $20 or $2 million just for insurance, and that's not really big deal for money wise.
Exactly.
Oh, and guess what was recently just revealed?
Oh no, what?
There's a former wrestler that says she would love to return to fight Bayley.
Oh, I heard that today. That's hilarious. I don't think
Who
Bayley
wants
would
to
go
come
for
back
that.
and fight Bayley? Who is
I
that?
really
Eva
don't think
Marie.
Bayley.
What?
Like
yeah,
Bayley would want to
Bayley
go for
says
that.
she
Jeez.
welcomes it. Bayley welcomes it.
She does.
Eva Marie.
I thought she would. I thought she would laugh her ass off at hearing that.
No,
Eva Marie
Bayley
wanted to
laughed
come
my
back
ass
and
off.
wrestle. I
Bayley
thought she was
welcomes
done.
Although to be fair, to be fair, Bayley once produced a match between Eva Marie and I think it was either Alexa Bliss or Carmella for an NXT show.
Yeah, that was NXT. However, WWE operates differently.
Yeah, that's right. But
Who's
about to say
gonna
though,
let the
Eva Marie
wrestlers
though.
produce the matches?
I don't know about that. But by the way, kudos to Serena, who's been actually running some NXT tapings literally by herself as lead, I've heard. She's doing very well. I love how NXT is not just really defined by one person behind it all. It's a team effort. Everybody's got input, and everybody can give to it. Everybody can learn and grow from it. So that's cool. Speaking of which, what's everybody's thoughts on Tyler Breeze, an original NXT superstar, returning in today's NXT?
Interesting.
Hey,
Now,
I just got word about WrestleVotes.
What about WrestleVotes?
They were getting a ton of questions regarding Bray Wyatt, saying WrestleVotes said this. I know this, prior to Bischoff and Heyman taking over, the plan was for him to re-debut and wrestle at SummerSlam. I can't confirm if any of that has changed. I'm confident he'll be at SummerSlam. Whether that's his first appearance, though, is to be determined.
Okay. So my speculation is probably correct. He will probably show up at SummerSlam. All right.
And also, remember how The Undertaker, because he felt guilty for what happened at Super Showdown and Blood Money Edition?
Yeah, let's just get this out of the way now. Let's talk about it. Go, Eric. What are you saying?
Okay. Remember how it got reported that Undertaker was pissed off about how the match went?
Yeah.
why wouldn't he be?
I don't blame him.
Yeah, and plus he even liked an Instagram post that said, "Please retire, Taker. Your health's at stake here."
Someone get a petition going to get 10 million signatures to convince Vince.
So Taker is self-aware, but he's still not retiring.
Because
I know.
Guilt trip him saying, "You've done so much for me. I feel like you could do more. You've done so much for me."
I think he needs a mental evaluation and check for CTE.
Yeah,
Who, Vince?
Something.
No, The Undertaker.
Okay, that's a lot more debatable. But anyways,
I mean, if he's going to keep doing this and it's under his own power, then he needs to be mentally checked.
Yeah.
here's the thing. Undertaker said, "I want to work with Drew McIntyre. I want to redeem myself from Super Showdown."
Good luck with that one.
Right.
Yeah, however, there's just been a report about Extreme Rules afterwards for SummerSlam.
What is that?
No.
Despite the fact that the freaking Undertaker is asking to work with Drew McIntyre, Vince and WWE is like, "Yeah, your singles match that you want, we're not doing that."
What are they
Well,
going
at
to do?
least there's
Are they
that.
Roman versus Taker, the rematch?
Oh, Undertaker's apparently not even considered for SummerSlam.
That's
I heard.
fine.
All right, that's a good thing because, I mean...
And the fact that they told him that we're not going to do a singles match with you anymore, that sounds like a good sign.
Well, maybe
Actually,
they'll finally give him a
it's not
break.
that it's not that they said you're not doing any more singles matches. It's more like we don't want you to work with Drew McIntyre.
Okay, wait. I'm going to say this right now. I'm proposing my worst fear. You guys saw that new thing they did, WM Mag or whatever. Do you honestly think they're going to try some way, somehow, to do Undertaker versus Sting at the next Blood Money show?
God,
Probably.
Undertaker versus who?
Are
Sting.
they going to have it a wheelchair match? Because that seems like, or maybe wheelchair basketball,
I'm
because
not
it seems like
counting
the
it
only
out.
way
That
those
blood
two can
money
actually go
talks
at it.
to these
Yeah,
legends.
I'm about to say. It sounds like, bottom line, though, Undertaker's going to be at the next Blood Money show, and that's what Vince is basically saying. I'm using you for Extreme Rules to try and increase the ticket sales and the ratings, which apparently is not working for the most part, and then I'll see you in freaking November.
And plus, we need to get Roman Reigns cheered.
Is Roman Reigns
yeah,
even getting cheered anymore? I swear it's like mute reaction almost.
Mute reaction to me is, I mean, might be better than heel reaction because, quite frankly, it just means he's not getting any reaction whatsoever.
I
think that's better than
why
getting
he's not
booed.
getting a reaction anymore from fans. Like fans, if they
The
boo
crowd
him,
doesn't
they'll
know how
feel
to
guilty
react
because of the
anymore.
leukemia incident.
Right.
But if they cheer for him, that would give Vince the vibe that we like the loads of dark dog crap that we're getting from him in his booking.
It's like I say about the WWE superstars and whatever they call them. I don't necessarily hate the person that sucks, seems boring, or overkilled. I hate the character and just the friggin' in-ring competitor shown every week. Now, do I need to even bring up this name? Because as far as I'm concerned, he could die in a dumpster fire. Shane McMahon.
What about? Oh no.
Can we please? I mean, why? Last 4 months, we've literally had Welcome to the Shane Show on both Raw and SmackDown
Shane show
Live.
has been insufferable to watch.
I think Kevin Owens told everyone they needed to know about him anyway. He spoke the truth for everyone, so I don't know if we need to touch on that. Owens did it all for us.
Well, basically trying to turn Owens to another CM Punk. Did you really think that was like a CM Punk level pipe bomb?
No, because they cut him off like after 2.5 minutes.
Exactly.
I get a
feeling he was out there screaming his head off, as opposed to Punk, who just sat there and just like calm demeanor and just spoke out of the thing off the mic or whatever.
Off the script.
KO just went out there and just blew up.
Yeah.
The Kevin Owens promo felt like a work shoot that he was talking about all the superstars that are being underutilized by Vince at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, and he named some names that we haven't even seen since the shakeup, Buddy Murphy included.
He's right. He was speaking facts.
Oh, there was an update regarding Buddy Murphy.
What?
He did show up on YouTube's SmackDown taping.
Oh, really? When?
Yeah, saying that the best kept secret's coming.
Where is he? Where is he?
Where is he? Is
He's
he in that room where
catering.
Aleister Black was locked behind a door? Where is he? I'm just saying.
I don't know.
We know who knocked on Aleister's door finally after all those months. Thank God.
Yes, and I cannot wait for Aleister Black versus Cesaro. Even though I feel like it's pretty imminent, I think Aleister Black's going to win. Do you really see Aleister Black losing his singles debut?
No, that's stupid.
Because like when we were talking about Cesaro earlier, I didn't want to drop any quote spoilers on that one, but what we were saying, what exactly what we were saying about Cesaro.
Yeah, we're at the present, so go ahead.
He should be doing so much more. But he's out there to quote job to the stars, so to speak. He's the enhancement talent now. He'll go out. He lost to Ricochet, and Ricochet's build up towards the U.S. title. Now he's going to lose to Aleister Black and Aleister Black's pay-per-view showcase as a single star.
Yeah, in fact, I've been hearing that people want to see Bray Wyatt and Aleister Black fight at SummerSlam. I was like,
let's not do that right now.
This is what I proposed. I say, no, I want to see that match, but let's wait a year. Let's build it up with stare downs and somewhat interactions, brawl at the Royal Rumble, and then Bray Wyatt after WrestleMania becomes Universal or WWE Champion. Then we have Aleister Black and him fight at SummerSlam next year for the title, whereas Aleister Black's on a hot streak and Bray Wyatt's on an undefeated streak.
Yeah, we don't need to see those two face right away because both of them losing, or either of them losing, would be ridiculous.
That's a WrestleMania.
It would destroy one of their characters. Yeah.
That's like putting the original.
I may not know how the wrestlers' lives are, but I'm pretty certain I could come up with better booking ideas than the creative team they've had. Oh, that reminds me.
Yeah, let's
remember
get into
that creative team video they showcased privately?
Yes, I remember that.
Oh God! What they did was basically give us a face to target, basically.
Yeah, like I know who I want to kill now. I'm like,
and you have to remember, they keep bringing up how all these guys are Hollywood or TV writers. Not one has ever mentioned I'm a wrestling fan.
Exactly. And this is the difference between AEW and WWE. Welcome to present day, gentlemen. We're at the weekend here. Tony Khan is a wrestling fan, and he's not just doing this by himself. He's letting an executive board of wrestlers run and build this promotion.
And you got to remember this. Cody said that the wrestlers are the writers. They don't have a writing team.
Exactly.
That sounds very
The wrestlers
ECW-like with more
come up with
money.
their own storyline, so it feels natural and feels like
It feels more organic and worthwhile.
exactly.
It's ECW with more money.
Yeah, but I feel like this ECW, if you want to call it, that's going to last a lot longer. I mean, Eric, you saw the reports, right? Wasn't there more interest in Double or Nothing versus some other show this year that WWE did?
WrestleMania.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't believe I heard that.
I didn't mean that to be a bad thing either, though, because we know because it's actually it's the same premise. They're the writers, or the wrestlers are the writers. They're creative. They have no shackles whatsoever, and the promoters are big fans and well into the thing there, and the guys bankrolling are fans, but that's what I'm saying. ECW didn't have that billionaire bankroll that AEW has. So what we have here is essentially.
Oh no! It wasn't Double or Nothing. It was All Out.
Oh, it was okay. Yeah, All Out was bigger than WrestleMania. It got bigger appeal to WrestleMania, like 160,000 something in like a till or whatever.
And please know, WWE has a 365-day-a-year TV schedule. And AEW has been only operating on the internet, and they haven't had a TV show yet. And yet people are like, I want to see this over WrestleMania.
Exactly.
I'm just curious to see how AEW operates once they get on TV. Like, will they be going live every week? Will they be doing tape shows? And how are they going to handle with the grind every single week when they actually have to do this?
There's already details about that. And Eric, I think you saw some reports I did, right?
Yeah, it's scheduled to be live from 9 to 11, and they're not going to have house shows. They did say they're not going to do house shows a lot.
Correct. They also said that
they don't want to wear out their performers.
Yeah,
well, if they're not gonna do house shows, I would hope they're gonna at least travel some with their TV.
Well, the thing is, you're not going to see a pay-per-view every month either. Tony Khan said that, but when they build towards their big-time pay-per-views, like the shows that take a darker, edgier, more aggressive approach, because the TV product's going to have a different outlook versus the pay-per-views, you'll be well in tune to when that happens. But yeah, they're going to do everything they can to not be WWE.
Question guys about the AEW TV.
I'm trying to remember this. I had said that if AEW ever wanted to sell out 100,000 people, I would call the event AEW All or Nothing.
I like that idea. Now, let me ask you this. I know it's early, but guys, let's just really fantasy book this. Next year, WrestleMania season, could you see AEW tackling a stadium up against WWE?
I can see it.
No.
It's like 40-60 at best.
Yeah.
If they had a match the level of, say, Hulk Hogan versus Goldberg, I could see them selling out the Georgia Dome like those guys did.
Oh, I have an idea. If they could do it, CM Punk versus Kenny Omega.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about CM Punk. So apparently AEW, and of course the Young Bucks who are constantly in talk with CM Punk, they want CM Punk. But of course they respect CM Punk's discretion. It's going to be his decision whether or not he joins AEW. So let's just get this out of the room. Do you guys really think we're going to see CM Punk in AEW? And do you think it could possibly happen as an appearance at All Out?
Why do I get the feeling with CM Punk that it could turn into could blow up into like a what's his name, an Austin Aries type thing, where his ego will just go off through the roof?
Yeah, here's the thing. I'm kind of 50-50 on that theory because, Punk knows what it's like to be basically not given promises, be told lies, and not be given solids he was owed. Yep. Whereas AEW is more like we're the relaxed environment. We're more focused on ourselves and more focused on helping the talent, showcasing them. And plus, we also have the money to back it up. But whereas Vince answers to basically only himself and the corporate sponsors and the Prince of Saudi Arabia.
How big of arenas do you think AEW is going to run for their TV to start off?
I'm going to go with 6,000, 8,000.
Yeah, that's a good number. a good number.
Yeah. Oh, here's the thing. Even though AEW, despite their numerous humorous attempts at mocking WWE, which is hilarious.
Yes.
Vince McMahon obviously keeps thinking that this was more like a declaration of war because we got Evolve. Now there's a new report coming out.
Uh-oh, what?
Vince McMahon is now trying to tell Triple H, you gotta put NXT on Fox Wednesday night at the same time as AEW on TNT.
Why?
Hey, if NXT broadcasts live, that's perfectly fine with me because I think they need to get the hell out of Full Sail.
Why do you think that, AJ?
Because Full Sail is getting to be just as bad as the Impact Zone.
How?
As far as that, far as their chants and their I don't know. Yes, they're a hot crowd every week, but I think it's because they're there every week.
The shows are really good. Of course, they're gonna be hot.
Well, they got a dedicated fan base there. You see a bunch of regulars all the time, from the Granny to even JDNY New York.
I just think they need to get out and move around some. And they said the same thing about the Impact Zone, and that's why they got out of there for a while too. And Impact has been doing very well as that.
We'll get to one certain aspect of Impact in a little bit, but yeah, I was hearing from reports that they're now thinking, Fox is now thinking we gotta put NXT on Wednesday nights, and basically Vince wants them to go head to head with AEW.
Wow, that would actually be really the declaration of war right there. You plant your flag in the ground, then you have to decide whether you simulcast, you watch this versus this. I find that rather interesting.
Wouldn't that be Vince admitting that NXT is a stellar product and better than his own?
Well,
I feel like Vince already admits that.
Let's see. Here's the thing. Here's what Vince basically is stuck with. Either A, he goes ahead and tries to assert his dominance over his son-in-law because he's that petty. B, he does badly and he loses billions of dollar deal with Fox. Or C, he gets WCW flashbacks with AEW. Which one's worse for him?
I have no clue.
So in this case, he has to swallow his pride if that were the case.
I don't think Vince is willing to do that.
I know. That's my point.
Fickle!
Yes.
Oh, wow.
But now, let's get into one major aspect of Impact. Tessa Blanchard, the Diamond.
Yes.
She gets the main event of Slammiversary. How about that?
Against Sami Callihan. I watched the intergender match.
One of the best women's wrestlers in the world today.
And one of the best matches I've seen from Impact Wrestling this year. One of my favorite matches I've seen overall.
Oh, and Dave Meltzer's rating came out. It got a 4.25.
Wow. That's impressive.
I personally like Brian Cage versus Michael Elgin better, but Sami Callihan versus Tessa was still a really good match.
Well,
this might be me. This might be me, but I take more stock in the Sanka star ratings than Meltzer.
I agree.
I don't really care for Meltzer's star ratings. He just overrates way too
That's
many
what
matches.
I'm saying. Like, I've never heard of I don't think a 6-star match is like logical, if you will.
Unless it's Okada, apparently.
And not only that, he's very, very liberal with those star ratings too, apparently.
All right, let's not get that's
here, like for instance, Sanka. Here, I'm looking at the Sanka ratings right now, and he only gave Callihan versus Blanchard 3.5, but that seems to be his standard with women's matches. I think he hasn't.
Go ahead.
He hasn't given a 4-star rating, I think, on a women's match. I think possibly since Becky Lynch versus Charlotte at Evolution.
Well, that makes sense because that was probably the best WWE women's match they've had since that point. Because as much as Ronda versus Becky versus Charlotte was a moment and it closed the show, that crowd was tired. Mike Cole lost his voice, and the outcome was predictable.
Yeah, that wasn't the 4-star match like everyone hoped it would be.
And let's think about this. If Ronda Rousey was not in that match, do you honestly think the women would have main evented?
No.
Period. Simple as that.
But I also don't think Rousey versus
They weren't
Flair.
Given this.
I also think Ronda versus Flair one-on-one wouldn't have been a 4-star, and to that effect, I don't think Lynch versus Rousey would have been either.
And yet we'll never know Lynch versus Rousey, apparently. And yet everybody wants to see that so badly. But anyway, going back to
it'll happen at Mania 35.
I'll believe it when I see it. Pirate flag and all. Anyway, going back to Impact Wrestling. Yeah, I have to admit, Slammiversary was a really good show, and Tessa Blanchard versus Sami Callihan was very interesting to me because I followed Tessa Blanchard on her indie dependent scene. She had matches of Wrestling Circus against Dave Chris of OVE and even Brian Cage. And they've gone to like 20 to 25 minutes. Tessa Blanchard, she's also been all over the place in other promotions, owning independent wrestling. She even recently competed against Mercedes Martinez in Rise Wrestling in a 75-minute Iron Woman match.
I saw that match. It was fantastic.
On the Rise official YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. Unfortunately, I was not able to watch Slammiversary live. Getting back to what I was saying about how I was telling Noah last night there. I was at the first night of the Major League Baseball All-Star festivities on Sunday night, so I didn't get to watch Slammiversary.
Right.
But
Cool.
I did watch Impact last night where they did their recap with the highlights, which seemed pretty neat. And then getting back to what Jake was saying about how he liked Cage versus Elgin better than Callahan versus Blanchard, it looks like Sanka gave that match a 4.25 star rating, so that sounds pretty
That was
accurate.
the perfect rating, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was a very aggressive, physical bout. Both men literally left it all in the ring, and I feel like I had enough pinfalls.
He won.
Yeah, I feel like I had enough pinfalls towards the end. And Brian Cage, he won, not necessarily, definitely. He just won with a simple wrestling move. A pin. 1, 2, 3. A sit-down pin.
And let's talk about what happened after the match. Do you guys believe that is Rhino?
That has to be Rhino. Come on.
And
I heard about that.
Expires on July 17th. So that's why they kept him under the mask, because they didn't want to, because he's still under contract with WWE technically.
Yeah, technically, yeah. That had to be Rhino. I would be shocked if it wasn't. And then
I have an idea. What if it was Goldberg?
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
Oh, God.
Well, then that'd be perfectly fine, because then Moose is calling his finisher the No Jackhammer Needed Spear.
Yeah. Point taken. And Moose is not done with RVD either. I did like the approach that when they were in Philly, they brought a lot of the ECW legends in the phone and stuff like that. But it looks like RVD is still sticking around Impact. And I guess Moose and RVD aren't done with each other. And now Impact is doing this like mashup tournament, which I guess is their own version of Mixed Match Challenge, where they randomly select a man and a woman together to fight in tag team competition. And yet somehow we got Tessa Blanchard and Sami Callihan now teaming up.
And what? So wait, the only way to make that wild card quote legit is if Johnny Impact and Taya Valkyrie get split. Although I heard Impact is Johnny's done with Impact now.
And so is LAX apparently. And I guess
and now WWE and AEW are trying to buy them.
Well, Johnny Impact, I'm just going to call him by his last name. Johnny Impact says he's not really looking at either company. He actually wants to focus more on like movies and stuff like that. And while AEW seems to be more flexible towards that, he still feels like he's not going to be able to do as much as he
so
wants.
He wants to stay out of wrestling for a while?
Basically.
After Boone the Bounty Hunter,
However,
after that Boone the Bounty Hunter disaster, I think Nitro would want, or Hennigan would want to redeem himself.
Yeah, on the friggin' independent
movies before.
What?
He was doing movies before. These movies now.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't know many movies he was actually in, to be honest with you.
I don't know. The Boone the Bounty Hunter is the first I ever heard him talk about.
There is a new tag team on the market for AEW and WWE to bid over.
LAX.
Yeah.
Where will they go?
Okay, so here's my thinking. Because Conan has past histories with WWF, WWE, and LAX, I feel like, still wants to be with Conan. So I feel like because I believe they would come together as a unit, I don't see them separating. I honestly could see these guys going to AEW.
LAX did face the Young Bucks at the Jericho Cruise.
Yes, they did. It's a very good bout, I might add. And I can't wait for a Cruise Part 2.
I want to see
it.
Oh, speaking of wrestlers who are now free agents, guess who confirmed their return to wrestling?
Who?
You're welcome!
Damian Sandow?
Oh, yeah, Damian Sandow.
Hey.
Huh.
The Millennium Man.
I could see him going to Ring of Honor, maybe.
Yeah, I could see him in Ring of Honor.
They definitely need all the help they can get.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they just picked up Eli Drake, so that's a good start.
Well, that was the NWA technically, not Ring of Honor.
Well, they're working together, if I recall, right? Or if I understand it right.
Here's the thing regarding Tessa Blanchard and Sami Callihan's match.
What?
LA Drake was supposed to fight Tessa Blanchard, but he refused to put her over.
Huh.
And then Callahan ended up winning anyway.
Yeah. Here's the thing. It came out that Impact. There were two reports that conflict each other. One report came out that Impact was never going to have Tessa Blanchard defeat Callahan. They just wanted to make her look like $1 million in the match, which worked.
Yes.
But then another report came out just a few days ago where they said they were worried that if Blanchard defeated Callahan, it would get backlash.
For
I think it makes sense to have Callahan go over because if Blanchard won that, then there's no reason for her to go back to the Knockouts division.
That is true. She could challenge Brian Cage for the Impact World Championship.
Yeah, but
in a rematch from the Wrestle Circus match.
But I was like, what would be the backlash? Like, if the excuse is that they can't imagine a woman beating up a man, I was like, Chyna, Candice LeRae. Does anyone now remember those two women fighting Jericho, Triple H, Johnny Gargano, Adam Cole?
Jeff Jarrett, Young Bucks. I mean, she was Candice LeRae was tag partner with Joey Ryan. So, yes, I remember.
Yeah, so what's the backlash?
I don't know. That just sounds like some weird...
I wouldn't exactly call what I just said backlash. It's more feedback that if Tessa did win that match, what would be the point in her going back to the Knockouts division if she can beat a man?
I also feel like there'll be like petty reinforcement, like, oh, you did this with a man and a woman. You're demonstrating a bad message to the society or something.
Yeah, someone actually kept commenting to me saying like, oh, get ready for more domestic abuse later on this year after Slammiversary. And I was like, really, man? Like,
why people think it's domestic abuse? I don't get it.
What? I think Rich Swann is over that.
The man hitting a woman.
Except there seems to be a common misconception of this. Like, I was saying this. Abuse can happen to a man as well, you know.
Yeah, but when it comes to abuse, you don't hear much about, oh, this woman abused me. Not since the freaking John Wayne Bobbitt incident, anyway. It's all about, oh, this woman got blah, blah, blah by this guy, blah, blah, blah. Tune into this story on Evening News.
These women are coming out and saying because they know people believe them because they're women.
The only abuse that I've ever heard of in the news about women over men, or, well, boys, if you will, is when they're finding out that teachers are having affairs with their students.
Yes, that is seen to be a commonplace thing. You are right about that.
That is pedophilia, in my opinion.
Yeah, but, you know, it's like one of those things. You draw the line between, you know, abuse and pedophile.
Oh, remember when Zero revealed that video of the guy getting mad over bagels?
Oh my gosh, yes, what the hell?
Okay. Okay, there's still an update regarding that guy.
What?
He's been getting interviews with local news place.
What happened to JD from NY206?
The guy's been getting interviews from local news stations.
And
oh, God.
Let's see. He insulted a woman and said, I don't really like you, so I'm leaving. So he left the interview before he could even get into real talk. And then he had another interview with a guy this time. And this time he goes ahead and says he's a prophet, how he's like Martin Luther King and Lenin.
What?
How did this whole thing even start anyways? Like, why is he mad over something that happened in the bagel shop?
Okay, basically he was saying that there's these people having this face that he's thinking it's an insult to his size, stature, and I was like, really? You're going to get offended by a smirk? So
he thought he was being judged by the look on someone's face.
Yeah, and then he basically goes and rants about how women have told him you should be dead on dating sites, and one person brought up, but no one said that to you in public.
Yeah, about to say, don't hold your aggressions out on us just because the internet hates you. It's not even on this bagel shop hates you. You're overreacting way out of line. But yeah, all right. Anyway, going back.
And he's claiming that he's a prophet now, and he says that if you shoot me in the head, I will be a martyr, basically.
Oh, jeez.
And I was like, oh, humanity, I just asked this question. How did we get here?
This is when you know the world is going to hell.
Anyway.
Our society is very messed up.
Yeah.
We have a president
after all.
Okay, also, speaking of which, don't you remember what Donald Trump said? I know I'm going off of wrestling, but do you know what Donald Trump said on the 4th of July?
What?
He gave a speech about the American Revolution in 1776, and then he kept saying this: "We took over the airports, and we took over the skies."
What?
Yeah, I am not kidding. There's video evidence of that, and Trump later, instead of admitting that I should have realized what I was saying, no, he blamed the teleprompter getting rained on for that.
Wow.
And I was like, I learned this stuff in elementary. This is common knowledge.
How about you give us something realistic?
Oh, okay, I'll give you something realistic. There are rumors that Fox wants Donald Trump to show up on SmackDown.
And that's when I officially quit watching WWE. Moving on. Oh, God.
Well, I mean, Vince can bring him in if the price is right.
Hey. Anyway, XFL. Do you see Trump and Vince working together on that?
Probably. Unless Trump wins the election again.
Isn't the whole reason Vince doing this because he and Trump want a football league of their own?
I have no idea.
I feel like that's the reason. But
if it gets Vince away from WWE, I'll be all for it.
Yeah, that would be the only saving grace. You focus on this world and screw up and cost the company more than $70 million since you invested already $500 million into it, while Triple H somehow makes your actual wrestling product, the thing I care about, thrive, hopefully on both Raw and SmackDown Live like he's doing with NXT, 205 Live, and NXT.
Actually, there's something I forgot to mention. You want to know what got reported?
What?
Vince wasn't at SmackDown this week. Triple H was running the show.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, okay. Well, I mean, I'll admit SmackDown Live was actually pretty decent this week.
Well, obviously, Triple H was given strict instructions to adhere to his rules, though.
Make sure
because he still followed the guidelines of. Actually, there were no 2 out of 3 falls matches or elimination matches, so there was that.
Keep this in mind, AJ. We had Finn Balor versus Shinsuke Nakamura, and Shin actually looked strong.
Yeah, that was a good match.
Once again, I'm trying to wonder, why give this away on free television?
Maybe Triple H is trying to remind people who Shinsuke Nakamura is, because ever since WrestleMania, what was it?
Well, why not just have him break up with Rusev after that pointless tag team they did?
Where is Rusev anyway?
Oh, speaking of Rusev, his contract's
He's probably trying to knock up Lana again.
Oh, jeez.
Apparently his contract's almost up, and he apparently wants out this time.
Okay,
so maybe.
Go ahead, AJ.
For all we know, he could be on an impregnation vacation of his own with Lana.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing he's probably thinking about is wrestling right now, so.
Yeah, that's very true. So I wonder if Rusev was going to sign a $500,000 plus deal like Mike Kanellis and Maria Kanellis, the Revival, and the Good Brothers now.
The Revival haven't re-signed.
They haven't?
No.
I thought they did.
I thought they did.
I haven't heard anything about that, but I did hear that the Good Brothers re-signed because that was made sense.
I guess financially it makes sense for the Bennetts because, well, they got another kid on the way, so there is that.
Yeah.
Assuming that is legit.
Actually, here's the thing about that.
Oh, here we go. Let's talk about this angle.
Well, there's something about Maria Kanellis and Mike Kanellis what they did.
What is it?
They told them she was expecting again after they resigned.
Wait, what?
Yeah, they just pulled a scam on them. They never told anyone they were expecting another child until after they resigned.
Wow.
Was that for the Raw segment?
No. This was like backstage stuff. Like before they resigned, they were expecting, but they didn't tell anyone until after they signed the contract to get the $500,000.
They just played.
Wow.
Yes, they played Vince.
And I guess Vince caught on, and he's like, "Oh, okay, you're telling me this now? Well, I know what I can do with you. I'm gonna put you on Monday Night Raw in a mixed tag team match, and I'm gonna." Well, I guess Paul took over, and then we got that tirade because I guess Paul was responsible for that post-Maria promo. And now we got Maria pregnancy, mood swing, crazies falling to play, thus further burying Mike.
Yeah. I get the feeling Vince was retaliating because when they told him, oh, so we're expecting, so yeah, good luck with us dealing with money. Good luck with giving us all that money now that you can't get out of.
Oh, wow. Bad idea. Well, at least he's surviving on 205 Live. Speaking of which, let's talk about the one elephant in the room. Maverick, 24/7. What is everybody's thoughts on the 24/7 championship and the current holder, Drake Maverick?
I'm still just wondering, oh, I just remembered. Do you want to know what R-Truth tried to tell Vince what to do regarding the wedding angle?
Oh, God, what did he say?
Yo, dog, I want to dress up in a wedding dress.
What?
Yeah, R-Truth wanted to dress in a wedding dress, and it pinned Maverick in it.
Oh, God, no. Okay, that's a little ridiculous to say the least. But
it's not the worst, the most craziest idea. You want to know a rumor I heard a few years back? Remember when Dennis Rodman went to North Korea?
yes.
There were some rumors going around that Dennis Rodman tried to make Kim Jong-un wear a wedding dress.
I'm sorry, what?
What, Jake?
Sorry, wait, hold up. That sounds like something I'd find on Kayfabe News.
It was rumored that it happened, that he tried to do that.
Jesus. I'm surprised we haven't been nuked yet at this point. Good Lord Almighty. By the way, Drake Maverick, that's a hot wife. Renee, former Mae Young Classic participant. Good on you, Drake.
However, they have not consummated the marriage yet.
I had no idea what that until.
So who's going to be the next 24/7 champion? Do you think it's going to be R-Truth or Jinder Mahal or EC3 or who's it at this point?
I'm betting it's going to be R-Truth because, let's be honest, he's the only thing that's making that title work.
And somehow it's becoming the most popular thing right now on WWE Main Roster. R-Truth might as well be put in the Hall of Fame while wearing that and pinned by a legend on stage.
Probably.
Because didn't Mick Foley say anybody got this title, men, women, legends, etc.? Why hasn't Carmella turned on him and got the title?
I'm actually okay with Carmella not doing it. It actually shows that her friendship with R-Truth is more important than the title.
That is true. But I wouldn't mind seeing like an angle where R-Truth loses the title and Carmella gets the title back, only to be ran after by everybody and R-Truth trying to save Carmella, and then Carmella will be like, "Here, pin me," and then R-Truth gets the title back. Because you're right, it does seem more legit about the friendship between Carmella and R-Truth, and honestly, I don't mind seeing Carmella in this type of state versus the Staten Island Princess SmackDown Women's Champion.
In fact, here's the thing I kept wondering why no one has done with the 24/7 title yet. I was suspecting that in order to get someone to stop chasing you, you just toss the title to someone else to hold on to it, and then they'll chase them thinking he's the champion.
That actually would be a bad idea. Or just get a fake championship. Go buy a WWE shop merchandise stand, get a fake Elite 20% championship, and then give it to this person. Or be like, "Oh, okay, here I am. I'm the champ. 1, 2, 3. Oh, wait." And they run away with the fake title, but no, you still have the real title somehow. And isn't like, didn't they say Matt Hardy and Jeremy Borash are leading these 24/7 segments?
Yeah, I haven't heard that.
I think that's what I heard, actually. I think Jeremy Borash is actually the camera guy, and Matt Hardy is spearheading the creative direction of all these 24/7 segments. Because think about it. We've had a golf course. We've had an airplane. I don't know so much about the in-ring arena segments where everyone's just, just going after the title, and you get like 1, 2, 3, 4 champions in the span of 2 minutes, EC3 holding it for 7 seconds.
Oh, yeah, we saw the depressed look on his face.
So EC3 gets 0 fucks right now about his career in WWE, basically.
Yeah, especially when he says that you all enjoying my suffering tweet he made.
Oh, yeah, and Dixie Carter responding to someone like, "Help your nephew!"
EC3, go back to Impact.
It's like, I wish I could.
Go back to Impact, EC3.
Like, even EC3 said that he didn't want to be called up so soon from NXT.
His run felt kind of anticlimactic, so I see where he's coming from.
Yeah, I mean, what was the one thing that you can remember about his run? He pinned friggin' Dean Ambrose.
And yeah, remember, that's the reason why EC3 is getting punished every week, because he couldn't get over against a guy that's been established.
Hold on. Even Ambrose said on the Talk is Jericho podcast that it made no sense because EC3 had no established character. No one knew who he was, so the win over Ambrose meant nothing.
Exactly.
And Vince was like, no, it's not Dean Ambrose's fault. EC3, it's your fault. We knew the casual fans should know who you are. You were an Impact. And I was like, and I'm thinking, Vince, how many people have been watching Impact in recent years?
I mean, Impact Wrestling is finally making waves, but let's be honest, it's been dead in the water for quite a while now.
They need
now
a
they're
better
finally
TV
doing
deal.
something with. Now they're finally doing something with their roster. Speaking of which, let's talk a little bit more about Impact. So Rosemary, and this goes back to the whole debate about wrestling versus a paycheck. Rosemary personally re-signed with Impact Wrestling because she loves the type of control and input she has in the way her character is produced and portrayed, and the creative direction. She loves working with Paul Mitchell and Jimmy Jacobs and that Knockouts division. So
yeah, and plus, the stab angle they did.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm just a simple man, and I love Allie. She's one of my favorite wrestlers. I've been following her since Smash Wrestling. When I saw that angle and the emotion with Rosemary having Allie in her arms, going from Dark Alley to Normal Alley, like I'm whole again, disappearing, I got emotional. I'll admit, that angle hit me hard. That was a really good way to really define this idea of Allie is once and for all gone.
Yeah.
I loved everything about that. And in my opinion, Rosemary, she is one of the leaders of Impact Wrestling, along with Tessa Blanchard and freaking Sami Callihan and Killer Cross. Did you guys see Killer Cross's post message or whatever after the freaking Slammiversary where he got stabbed with a candlestick in the mouth?
Oh, that must have been brutal.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Y'all didn't watch that. Sorry, spoiler alert. Yeah, it was nasty, to say the least.
Like it could be worse. They could have just done okay, remember when I was posting videos of Moxley during his I'm Just a Sick Guy promo, and there's an actual scene where he gets a drill stuffed into his skull?
I watched those CCW clips. The things that Moxley freaking went through are inhumane. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so we're finally at present day. Let's go ahead and talk about what we got tonight, Fight for the Fallen. What's everybody's match they're looking forward to the most?
I need my older brother.
What about you, Jake?
Kenny Omega versus Shima, in my opinion.
Really? Who you got winning that match?
Versus the Lucha Bros is going to be a good match. Very looking forward to that tag match. It'll be good.
Yeah, I think Lucha Bros finally are going to get their first win in
I believe they will as well. It's the perfect time for that.
Yeah. Yeah, AJ, you still there? I don't know where AJ went. All right. Well, anyway, yeah, looking at this card, we got a 9-match card. He muted his mic, so he must be taking care of something. No problem.
Here, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Y'all good?
Okay, I don't know where I was the last minute ago.
Yeah, we're just talking about Fight for the Fallen. What match are you looking for?
I was able to hear you guys, but I guess you couldn't hear me because I actually tried to interject when you were talking about stabbing people.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, because I had something else for you there that you might actually find a little cringy on that one, on that front.
Go ahead, lay it on me. Let's rewind. Lay it on me.
So last month, AIW did that tournament, their annual tournament, where, like I said, the one that Joey Janela won last year. So they did it last month, and one of the guys is, I guess, big into staple guns, and
Jimmy Havoc.
He had a guy staple a dollar bill to his tongue in a match on that.
Ouch!
Yeah.
At least if you're stapled in the cojones, it's through your pants, so it doesn't seem that bad. But your tongue?
Yes. I saw that. I watched it live. I'm like, okay, this is cringe. This is sick. So yeah, he had a dude staple a dollar bill to his tongue.
I've never seen
Did anyone see the video I reposted of a guy having nails implanted into his forehead?
Oh, Jesus.
Sweet Christ.
Yeah, this is a wrestling event that did this. And I wrote, like, AEW went too far. And I responded with, dude, they could have done much worse like this video.
Let's not even talk about what happened in Mexico at one point that ended someone's life.
Yeah.
That's the pinnacle of the worst thing you could do in wrestling. What a jackass! But
anyway, back to Fight for the Fallen. You were saying, what was the question?
Yeah, what match are you looking forward to the most?
It's hard for me to say since I can't watch it live tonight. I mean, that Rhodes Brothers versus Lucha Brothers match, or I'm sorry, Young Bucks match is gonna be pretty neat, I think. I mean, it is like it's they know each other well, so it's gonna be a good match. The question is, will it be more? Are the Rhodes Brothers gonna be able to bring the Young Bucks down to that old school style, or are the Young Bucks gonna be try to drag Dustin to that super high energy deal?
Yeah, that's the key thing here because the Young Bucks, I mean, to their credit, they have more tag experience currently right now than the Rose Brothers do. But you saw the last episode of Road 5 for the Fallen. You saw how Cody and Dustin basically talked about the way they work as a team, being brothers, in the business. But also, they talk a little bit about the Young Bucks and how they view the Young Bucks. And Dustin was very hard on the Young Bucks. So
hold the phone though. I'm looking at the card right now and I see that there's another match that I actually didn't realize was booked. SoCal Uncensored versus the Lucha Brothers in Phoenix. That is the one that I would look forward to most then, because that is right there in my wheelhouse.
absolutely.
I've loved Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian, always have ever since their time in Impact, and I've only seen Scorpio Sky a handful of times, be it through AEW, but he's impressed me. In fact, one of my buddies, my buddy that I was watching Fighter Fest with, he actually thought Scorpio Sky was reminiscent of Too Cold Scorpio, and I can agree with him there.
Okay.
And then being that I'm such a huge I'm sorry. That's a 2-on-2. I misread that. I thought I could have sworn I thought there was a
You're thinking a six-man tag. No.
I thought there was a 6-man with SoCal Uncensored, all three of them versus the Lucha Brothers and Laredo again. I misread that. Damn. Okay. Well, even still though, that's still a solid match though to look forward to.
Absolutely. All right. Yeah.
Also, what?
What? Go ahead, Eric.
I was gonna say, what do you think about AEW doing their own women's tag team division?
I don't think they have enough women for that.
Well, actually, here's the thing that Tony Khan did say. He says that they're gathering as much women as possible. They're having them get together to build chemistry. They're actually giving them months ahead of time to prepare for when they do the women's tag team division. So basically, it's like, we have an actual plan. We're not doing it like Vince did it.
And like Tony Khan said, he says it's going to be men's division, women's division, singles division, tag division, and this company is going to put a focus on tag team wrestling, bringing you tag team action, led of course by SCU, who are coaches.
And the Young Bucks are producers.
Exactly.
Works for me.
This company's giving you everything you think that it would. So. Yeah, you have to hit your camera.
And I'm also looking for that. I'm looking forward to that tag team match with Britt Baker and Bea Presley on opposite sides, because I've never seen Bea Presley live before, like on, other than a few clips before. And, Britt Baker's, I've been watching her ever since she first started wrestling, since she's an AIW original trained by Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae.
Yeah, and Britt Baker, of course, the Mrs. Bebe to Adam Cole, even using his moves. And I've seen Britt Baker through Ring of Honor, through Rise, and also, of course, through their very first show before this was even a thing, All In. And she really impressed me in that four-way dance. Bea Priestley, I've seen her on the UK scene, and in Stardom World Pro Wrestling in Japan. She's going to impress me. It's okay, Jake. All the best, brother. And I'm really very curious to see how both these guys do during this tag match on opposite sides. And I'm just going to say right now, if we're going to do a prediction, I'm going to say Bea Priestley and the person I know the least about, Shoko Nakima, wins.
Okay.
Story. Here's an interesting, little bit off-topic story about Britt Baker. So, like I said, I've been watching her ever since she debuted as a wrestler. I saw her face right after Emma Tenille Dashwood was released from WWE. AIW jumped on her, and AIW was the first independent show that Emma did outside of WWE. She faced Britt Baker. That was a phenomenal match to see live right there. And so, ever since I've been seeing, learning of these new women coming up and watching them on the indies and on YouTube, my dream women's match is to see a triple threat match between Britt Baker, Tessa Blanchard, and Rachel Ellering. And now that Rachel Ellering has been signed by NXT, unfortunately, that's not a thing to see anytime soon. I tweeted out about that, and Britt Baker replied to me saying, "Never say never."
Yeah.
And
oh,
so
you marked out, didn't you? You marked out when Britt Baker replied to you, didn't you?
a little bit, yes. But here's another thing too. Because she is signed to AEW, obviously her time on the indie scene is
limited.
Is limited now, and drawing to a close at some point. I spoke to the owner of AIW a few months ago. We talked about that. He said he is definitely looking to get Britt back into one more show before she rides off into the AEW sunset. And so the AEW's WrestleMania, their version of WrestleMania is coming up on August 2nd, which is 2-3 weeks away. They haven't announced a whole lot of matches live yet, and interestingly enough, they have not announced a big time name, like celebrity name headliner, which they usually do every year. Last year was Scott Steiner. The year before was Arn Anderson.
Nice.
And so I put out a tweet to him. I says, well, since Britt Baker's time with you is drawing less and less here.
Yeah.
Don't you think Absolution would be the perfect time to bring her off and for her last match? And how, if you want to go out with a bang, see if you any way possible can get Tessa Blanchard to face her for it, because that would be amazing. And Britt replied to that with the eyeballs emoji.
Like,
and
interesting.
And Tessa Blanchard liked that reply too, because I tagged them both in the tweet. And I'm thinking to myself, don't you please blue ball me here, because this would be freaking amazing if you could get that match.
Because if nothing else, AJ, they appreciate your support and your creative booking for a dream match that I would love to see myself. One of these days I need to go to Cleveland and see one of these shows with you.
Tessa and Britt have had such a rivalry over the indie scene over the last few years. I've watched some of those matches on YouTube. They're phenomenal. And I was kicking myself in the nuts once I found out that they were booked for the Shimmer show that during the Collective during WrestleMania weekend, because I had some friends from the Cleveland area here who went and actually saw that match, and I was so jealous of them. I ordered the Shimmer show on Fight TV and watched that match. Again, it was phenomenal. I wish I could have gone. And if I cannot see Britt Baker versus Tessa Blanchard, or I've all these opportunities, it's like they're booking this match all over the damn country. If I can't get it in Cleveland, for Christ's sakes, I'm just like I feel like I'm getting kicked in the nuts here.
You just gotta Google it, find a location, save some money, take a plane or a bus.
Seriously though, they're trolling me. They're booking this match in Indiana, Chicago. They had a match against each other in Pittsburgh a couple of years ago, and I'm like, oh God, why can't I get this match here anytime or like near me?
You know, the bottom line is this, AJ. You at least got more wrestling with high caliber wrestling over there in Cleveland than I do here in Toledo. Truth be told, we got some independent great wrestling here, but I don't get names like Tessa Blanchard or Britt Baker or Johnny Gargano or Shane Taylor over here, unfortunately.
A funny story about that is Absolute Intense Wrestling has been booking these huge names for years. I've been going to AIW for over 6 years now. They used to have a monthly women's show called Girls Night Out, or maybe not monthly, but periodic show. They had so many names in there. Names like Tessa Blanchard actually was on one of those shows. Nikki Cross. Ember Moon was the former AIW Women's Champion. Candice LeRae, as you know, was on there. They brought in Mickie James for a show, and my God, was that a beautiful time. They had Heidi Lovelace, Ruby Riott. They had all of a lot of the women that you see now on NXT and WWE television have spent a time in AIW, and I am kicking myself for not going to more of those for not going to any of those Girls Night Out shows, because now seeing where they're at.
You know, I wonder if
WWE
in any way, because, you know, they're all talking about Evolve and all this type of stuff like that, and they don't give like any highlights before Evolve or anything like that. You wonder if WWE's trying to enhance their video library, and maybe they're promoting all their talent through NXT and I've gone through Evolve with the type of stuff that you have seen in AIW. I wonder if that's like part of their, like budgeting strategy to add more content to the network or bring more awareness to these wrestlers. Like you see the 24 specials and you see these other promotions that these wrestlers go through,
Well,
only in those, and not through like hype and video packages or like, oh, this person's been for here, or this person's like that. So
there's a theory though. There's a theory on that. When
What?
Kurt Hawkins was released by WWE, he became part of part of the semi-regular AIW roster, and also Hornswoggle's been taking bookings from AIW over the last several years. So now there's a theory that Hornswoggle and Kurt Hawkins are essentially moles within the AIW organization, and they're the ones responsible for stealing all AIW talent back to NXT and WWE.
That would surprise me.
Nah, because you gotta have somebody looking besides Triple H and Omega at this timeline. Interesting. Keep your eye on them.
My guess is that's not only that. My guess is between those two guys, I'm thinking maybe someone also in the WWE organization has a subscription to Powerbomb TV because AIW shows are on that too.
Well, we already know that the WWE talent's been looking at other promotion shows, including AEW, probably to Vince's chagrin. So,
well, another thing too that we know is AIW is out there because they've been featured from their school on NXT in this storyline between Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole.
Exactly. I was like, that's AIW.
Yes, you're seeing that happen. You've seen the interviews with a few of their young talent. Their owners being interviewed on there, and so you know that AIW is out there and appreciated. Triple H is a fan. That's another thing too. Johnny Gargano is probably going to bat for these guys too because those are his
Johnny
kids.
Gargano is literally Cleveland's NXT. Every year, I've been to NXT Cleveland now 2 times in a row. Hope to see you at the next one next year. And who closes the show and owns himself to Cleveland? Johnny Gargano.
Correct.
And I always said this. Johnny Gargano is WWE's answer to Kenny Omega.
I would like to agree with that.
In fact, it got so big for me that I would rather have Gargano versus Omega than Styles versus Omega.
You know what? I honestly have to agree with you. I feel like, especially because, like, you see what Johnny Gargano's done. 15 takeovers in a row. Whether win or loss, he always seems to steal the show. And then you got Kenny Omega, one of the best professional wrestlers in the world. You might as well put Johnny Gargano in that category, too. I think I'd rather see right now, and I'm going to make a poll as soon as this thing's over, I think I'd rather see Johnny Gargano versus Kenny Omega. And I'm sticking with
And plus, you got to remember, Johnny Gargano did 4 5-star matches.
Right, he's already a standard bearer. All right. Well, I think we've about hit our time because AJ said it's about time to wrap it up. So with that, I'll close with this.
Yeah,
Extreme Rules.
There is one thing I wanted to ask. If you were given the opportunity to be a commentator for a wrestling promotion, where would you want to work at?
Oh, someone says I should try and be a commentator for an indie promotion. But if I had a choice for the dream promotion, just to be with Marinello. NXT.
AJ, what about you?
Just to be able to hang out with and be able to call match and talk with Johnny and Candice again, it would be NXT as well because I have so much more that I want to say to them ever since they both rode off the AIW sunset a few years ago.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say AIW wrestling because you always love that place and you have had interactions with the owner.
Well, yeah, I'm just, and it would be cool to call these matches, but there are, however, a few pieces of or there's one particular talent in there that I'd rather not mention on this podcast that I just particularly don't care for, and I would shoot all over commentary during his match.
Oh,
you sound like Rocky Romero whenever it comes to Bushi because he can't stand that guy.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be able to keep a professional opinion doing commentary for the match for that one particular.
You gotta be unbiased, AJ.
No, it'd be tough to be, and that's why I feel like being a fan is probably best for me at this point in my life.
That's the business, the safest route. What about you, Eric?
I wouldn't know where I would want to be a commentator at. Probably it would be at local promotion or NXT because if I go to the main roster, I will be killed.
Yeah, I'm going to shoot myself in the head if I have to be like a freaking robot like Michael Cole. How has Michael Cole not lost his sanity?
He's even getting fed up and he's reportedly wanting out.
Oh, geez. Although, now that I think about it, though, being a commentator for NXT would be tough, too, considering that I don't care for Matt Riddle very much either.
Yeah,
So I don't know if I'd be able to have a professional opinion on that. But
unless you were to be a heel commentator, then you could do whatever you want.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're gonna be a heel who cheers for the top babyface in the company, sure.
I think for me, I'd be the babyface commentator because for me, I just like wrestling, and I'm not gonna lie, my favorite faction right now, and again, like you said, AJ, are they heels, are they faces? It's up to your discretion. My guys in NXT are the Undisputed Era.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, and by the way, Ring of Honor, I hope you do better. I would love to meet Ian Riccaboni, and I look forward to seeing Summer Supercard live as well as NXT Takeover Toronto 2 and SummerSlam. See y'all in Toronto, but I think we're done here.
All right. If you guys are live tweeting Extreme Rules tomorrow, I'll be watching.
All right.
I will be. I'll be live tweeting.
All right. Sounds good.
We'll see each other again for Fight for the Fallen.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I'm heading out to my ball game tonight, so you guys enjoy the show, and I'll try and catch up on that at some point.
Okay. And Noah, do you hope we could do that comic book enthusiast podcast next week?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And hey, folks. Plan ahead. Next week, Comic Book Enthusiast Podcast. We're going to explore the world of comic books, tell you what we're interested in, and really dive into, especially, the Marvel Universe. This will be like a rebirth for me, so I'm very curious on what we talk about and how I join in the conversation, and what I can learn, too, led by you, Eric. With that, AJ, it was a pleasure. Speaking of wrestling,
I actually have one last thing to add, too.
Yeah.
That AIW quote their WrestleMania coming up August 2nd. They're broadcasting on Fight, so I'll shoot you guys a link if you guys want to take a look on that. The main event is for the championship. I don't know if you're familiar with MLW, Major League Wrestling. Tom Lawler, Filthy Tom Lawler. He is the AIW champion. He's defending against Eddie Kingston, aka King.
Hey, Eddie Kingston, I know him from the OGs back when OG and LAX faced off at last year's Slam version.
So that's your main event for the AIW Championship.
You know, I might do like a prediction video or an indie view on that promotion and tag you on, and so you can give me your thoughts, stuff like that. Yeah, let me know that link. That sounds great. With that,
I'll shoot you the link for Fight when that comes out.
Sounds awesome. I think we're done here. Goodbye, everybody.
All right, we'll be seeing you all again in September.
Yep.
This was the Elite Wrestling Podcast, latest episode. We'll be seeing you all again in September.
Woo!